Hello! Hooray! Get myself live here too. Something. There we go. I am live.
Ninar! I unmute. I didn't mute. I mute. Blah blah blah. Now I can't speak. What is happening? Hello. Yes, Ninar, you're broken. Hey, Emmy. Oh, well, now you're here. Now we're having a party. So, okay, so let me back up. Welcome in, everybody. We are doing anatomy study today. We are doing torso, and I think we can get a torso and back done. Like, so the whole midsection done in like a couple hours. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw what I sculpted last night, but did basically 2 characters in 3 hours, which was a lot of fun. So I think we can do a torso pretty decently, and then we're gonna put it together. So the plan is to have a full base mesh by the end of the stream today, taking all the pieces that we did from last week and then combining them, which is why I've been holding kind of a semi-realistic style the whole time. I think this is my...
I need to close my window.
I think this is my aim next month to do anatomy. Hell yeah, Emmy, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna look up some reference real quick. Now Twitch is weird, so I'm gonna be looking up a good chunk of my reference off screen, but I'm gonna pull up some references real quick. Although I will say a big reference for anatomy in general, if we go under tool, Ryan Kingsley's Ecrochet, even though it's a female Ecrochet, the muscles still are still in the same place. So that's a really good reference too. So I like to load that up because I think it's a great reference source. And then of course we could I can, for just anatomy purposes, since I'm not making a female character, I can just go ahead and get rid of the breast tissue, and then I can use the rest for referencing the front and the back. So this is really cool if you're trying to get some quick reference right out the gate within ZBrush. There's always something there. So I think that's fun. I'm gonna go ahead and
Hi, Oreo.
send links to
How are you?
everything. Ooh, yeah. Oreos on the hat.
Yeah, I am doing female, so I am most definitely looking up reference off screen because I don't want to get me a booby ban.
You don't want booby bands? No booby
No.
bands. No booby bands. Do they do booty bands? Because I
Don't know.
Because I've always sculpted 2 sliced hands pretty well. So
Well, I think the sculpture was okay. Like you can't sculpt nipples, but the sculpted boob was okay. But
yeah.
it was the fact that he showed a little bit of reference image with underboob.
Okay. Nice. Well, yep, that'll do it. That will do it.
Yep.
All right. Let me drop my shit in the dojo, and then my Discord. Anatomy. God, I can't spell for the crap today. Nice. All right, and then let's come in here real quick. Did I tell you? Well, did you guys see my well, Kamara, you specifically, did you see the how I tried to bob and weave the NFT conversation on Pixelogic?
Yeah,
That was ridiculous.
I love A-Cubed coming in and just like, hey!
Yeah, well, what's funny is I was in her stream when somebody asked, and she was bobbing and weaving the question. And then I
Yeah.
was like, I'm a witness, don't worry, like, you'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. But then, so she decided to return the favor, which is super awesome, so. Yeah, did he get his appeal? Okay. Did he get his appeal okay, Kamara?
I don't think he's heard back from Twitch yet. He is able to stream again. His suspension's over, but I don't think he ever heard back from Twitch.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so if everybody is coming in here, I am dual streaming with Kamara.
Hello.
So make sure to peek over there and see what she's doing too. Bonjour, Martin. I'm sorry I missed the streaming.
Citizen, hello.
Yo, yo, yo,
Oh,
Witch
Ruby
Cat.
told me there's a stream going on.
Hey, Witch Cat, welcome in. Oh, so, wow. Verbal processing? Was it verbal processing you got booby banned?
No.
No. The other.
Living Vertex.
Living Vertex. So many people. Living Vertex. Got
the one that I'm
a
now
3-day
sharing a
boot.
Discord server with.
Right. So Living Vertex got a booby ban. He showed realistic underboob or side boob in one of his references, and
Yep.
god damn it, Twitch is not gonna have it. Okay.
No nipple, just under boob, but that was
Yeah.
too much.
That was way too much. So there goes my dreams, guys, as a fitness channel wearing really crazy tank tops. All right. And before anybody asks, Stream Raiders is loading. Just so you know, it's happening. Ryan, what's happening, dude? See, there it is. It's happening.
Everyone
Transition.
popping in, hello.
No
How are
nipple?
you? I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
No nipple? How the hell did he get banned? Yeah, he got a ban because that's Twitch right
Twitch.
now. Twitch is literally they're just not taking risks where they think a risk is, which is crazy to me. That's really all it is. So, you know, he's not popular enough to bring in some sort of revenue at the moment. So, just he's already breaking the rules, ban him. But they gave him a temp ban. They gave him like a 3-day ban.
It was a 3-day suspension. We just call it booby ban because it's funny.
Yeah.
Hello, Witch Cat, and hello, Ryan.
Yeah. And how have you been? I've been good, Oreo. I've been really good. Just worked on my commission all weekend, which was good. And now it's being manufactured, aka 3D printing, which is awesome. So I'm really excited about that. Reached out to another studio, so hopefully I'll get some more work.
Miss Brandy.
I now need work. The struggle's real.
Brandy. I know.
Good morning. Hello, Oscar. How are you doing, buddy? All right. Okay, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to utilize the Ryan Kingsley model like I was saying earlier, but I also do have another reference site that I highly recommend. And it is stream safe as far as I know, but I'm willing to test it because I can always jump over to YouTube.
Great. All right, Miss Brandy, I'll pick you up.
So, and what I'm going to do is
I just got my Discord server up. I don't want to get a booby ban already.
yeah, I am going to go with an adult male because you can load different models. And because we're working on the torso a little bit, what I need to do is just make sure that we kind of keep it waist up because they do show genitalia here. But I'm really looking for this part right there. And maybe the butt. That's about it. But as long as I keep it here, I'll be able to kind of reference some things, but I won't be keeping that on screen. So we'll be able to have a good chunk of that most of the time. So I'm just going to use that as my reference. What I really like about it is that you can also select certain body parts and focus in on like the pectoral muscle, the deltoids, you know, the scapula. You can focus in on certain parts, and that's why I really like it. So if you guys don't know about that website, you guys have to check it out. It's really great. Which cat? Hello. I will send it to you in the Discord right now. I've mentioned it before, but I also butcher it every time I say it, so you know.
I just zoned out with what you were saying because I was loading in the Ryan Kingsley in model myself.
Yeah. Here, you can. I put it in the. I just messaged you directly.
Nice.
All right, so that's what I'm gonna be going off of. Now, what is really cool is I will be pulling one other reference, and I'll show you guys why in a second, because I think this is a great way. This is how I've been starting all of my projects, and I feel like it is definitely the best thing to do. So, Mofafa! What's up, dude? Yep, we're doing anatomy too. Torso in particular. Let me see. Come on. I want a good muscle chart.
Brandy usually waits until I've been streaming for about an hour before she comes over and demands attention, but lately she's just like, oh, you have headphones on, hi!
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Ecrochet, yep. Got the Ryan Kingsley Ecrochet for reference. Yep. In fact, you know what? I think I'll just utilize this, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So a really cool trick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually load up the pizza box. Yep. Sorry. No, stop. I did not mean to do that. Not installed. I hit the wrong shortcut. All right. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit Control F, and that's going to load everything into a folder.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you could do all visible subtools that way. So you basically turn around and select everything. So it's like you're going to move it. So you select it all. And then you Control F and put it on the folder. It's pretty cool. Or you could just go down to merge and hit merge visible.
Yeah.
Whichever works out for you. But I'm going to copy that and stick it in my sphere. So this way I'll always have it just here on the side. But I'm going to be utilizing this kind of trace too, which is fun. I'll show you what. What's up, Slowby Art? Pepperoni and cheese. But is this the Russian Ecrochet? Ah, that's a really great question. I don't know.
I forgot about that.
I don't know. Don't judge me.
I completely forgot about that. That's really funny.
I know, it is funny, right? Yeah, it's crazy. I have no idea. All right, let's go ahead and save. Obviously, we're off to a really slow start today, guys, so... Okay, There was a guy who came in my stream last week, and I was doing arms, and he said my arm wasn't believable, and that he was used to seeing a Russian Ecrochet. And so then I asked him to show me the Ecrochet that he was referring to, and no Ecrochet appeared, you know, and I was trying to confuse.
Oh, I guess you're doing anime style, and I'm like, the only thing anime style on your screen is that Vegeta head.
That's it, yeah. Which, you know, is funny. It does throw a lot of people off, yeah. But, you know, so I'm curious on what he was actually referencing.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know. I just found it funny.
Yeah.
So. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save a project. I've been saving these projects, these studies as projects, so I can actually record a time lapse and stuff later. So it's been helpful. Yeah, exactly. Instaban. You know the Russian version of the human body. Right? Yeah.
Because Russian bodies are different.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'm part Russian, so that explains a lot of things when I look at myself in the mirror and I compare myself to my children. What's wrong with you? Why don't you look like this?
Hi, Brandy.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna show you guys the balloon mesh trick I've been using. Well, it's not really. I mean, it's just what I've been using. The balloon mesh has been awesome. Character sheets.
Distracting kitty is distracting.
Yep. Okay, we're just gonna save this real quick. Not in the face. Into torso. Go in there. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, always rushing about. But yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, look at your hair. It's different than everyone else, Greg. God. Why do you do that thing? Exactly. Crazy European. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Just you know, I just work here. Okay, so
At least he didn't ask you why you're sweaty.
right. Exactly. All right, so texture. I'm gonna bring in a character sheet, and I've been using this a lot where I've been kind of just blobbing out shapes and then shaping them to the sketch just to get something a little bit quicker. And it's actually what I did last night when I did the sculpt off, which I did not show you guys. That's where we're at today. I say something and then walk away. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys ended up seeing this, this is what I did in 3 hours last night. Don't look closely at it. Just appreciate it from afar because it's really bad.
Hold mine up too if you're showing yours up. Oh, Brandy, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really bad when you zoom in, but you know, it's also in the Discord. But it was fun. But yeah, that's so. I've been using this a lot lately, where I just quickly bring in shapes, and then I just start using balloon mesh to get what I need. So that's what we do.
Here's my
Nice.
dude.
3 hours. Yeah, I wish 15 minutes. That'd be
Mine
something.
was actually
Man.
about 3 hours and 10 minutes because I kind of forgot that I wanted to put the ogre under him until 10 minutes from the end. So I spent about 20 minutes total on the ogre when I really only had 10 minutes left to do it.
Right.
Very much not finished, but he was fun.
Yeah, I actually, when I saw you in the last, I think it was the last 10 to 15 minutes, I peeked. I was done.
Yeah.
So I peeked over, and I just saw you started working on the monster space. So I'm like, oh shit, she's a little far.
Yeah, I was moving so slow last night, and all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, he's standing on something.
Right? Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But yeah, it took me like, at one point I was trying to make the bandages around, or wraps or whatever, around his legs.
Uh-huh.
And I was trying to find, so I made a bunch of different poly groups, and then I wanted to use poly loops for it, but I couldn't find it, and I don't know why I couldn't find it, because it's where it's always been.
Right.
So then I ended up doing it a different way, and it took me like 10 minutes just to, like, I was sitting there staring at it, and I'm like, I know what I'm trying to do. What am I
Right.
trying to do? And yeah.
What is that thing you're trying to do? Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So literally just taking a character sheet and then just kind of using it as a template to quickly get something in there pretty
3
quickly.
hours. Heart. Bob Ross.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear the hours, Mufafa? Yeah, yeah. Not sure how to. Yeah, let's see. Martin says, not sure how to explain that, but do you know a brush in ZBrush which flattens a part of the vertical surface so that the part is horizontal. I think my crappy image explains it better than I do. I immediately want to say clip curve brush. Before, after. Do I know a brush in ZBrush that flattens the surface? That's okay. So we're looking at like this kind of before you have a flat edge, and now you're doing like a Stairmaster thing. Not something that would do it easily. I mean Before I answer that, let me try something. That's my first thought.
I love that Wallbrass emote.
Let me see something, because
I'm too deep into the ogre, but I love this whole sculpt. Love on first sight. Yeah, I saw the concept for that, and I was like yesterday, I was even telling Living Vertex, I'm not entirely sure if I want to do the sculpt off because I was busy last week. Give myself a little break, and also I have things I need to catch up on. And then I saw the concept, and I was like, oh no, I love it.
Okay, in my head, Martin, what I'm thinking, I'm gonna put the polygroups this way. It might be a little easier, but the only one I know that would do that successfully well would be the clip curve, but not maybe in one shot. But if you hold Control Shift, come up and click the clip curve, and then you can actually play with the B radius, which will actually give you a little bit of a weird step. But you also might be able to just... Let me try something. I mean, you might be able to just use the clip curve itself, 100% that. Come down, double tap Alt, come up, double tap Alt, come up, double tap Alt. And you can, yeah, so that's what you would, I don't know if that's exactly what you're trying to achieve. What's up, Spicer? Shout out to Spicer, everybody. Amazing Pixo artist, collectible artist, sexy person. Check that guy out. He's an awesome guy. You want to hang out with him. But yeah, Martin, that's my first go-to. Or you could utilize maybe the slice curve. Do the same thing. Come down, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, blah, blah, blah. Right? And then you'll actually get a poly group that then kind of creates that shape for you. That might be another way to approach it. I'm not sure if that's helpful at all, though.
And those stickers are amazing. Also, have a good class.
So, that might be, maybe that's helpful. But to do that, I don't know. Spicer, buddy, do you have any idea? Friend Martin's trying to find a brush that will basically give him a horizontal plane to kind of like the stair step plane. I'm thinking clip curve, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure if that helps, buddy. Let me know if that helps you. Okay. Anyway, I mean, the other thing you could do too, actually. Okay, now that I'm like really thinking about it, the other thing you could do is you could use ZModeler, because ZModeler now has slicing abilities, and so you could actually come up here, grab your ZModeler brush, hover over a face. And then you can actually choose, where is it? Slice mesh. And then hover over points, slice mesh, and then an edge, slice mesh, which is right here. And then what's really cool is you can then just start kind of drawing. And then you can make all these different shapes really quickly. It does not work symmetrically, by the way. But if you wanted to start a new line, just tap the space bar one time, then you can start a new line. Because if you don't and you try to draw, it's going to just zigzag all over the place. So you want to hit spacebar to start a new line. If you're going off tangent, as I tend to do when I speak. But then you can make these different shapes pretty quickly. And then you can actually isolate those shapes by hovering over an edge, going over to polygroups, fill, and you could fill that section, and then you can clip that section out. So you can get custom shapes that way, which is actually the way I would recommend doing it. But again, I don't know what the end result is as a whole, Martin, but maybe that's something that you would do. That's something that you might want to look into. As I'm demonstrating on a sphere, it would take shape on anything else that you're doing. Yeah, brush not really, but would put blocks together and then Dynamesh. Yeah. So.
That is the best Bob Ross.
This is a very strange torso. Next Nox, what's up, dude? Next Nox, I have not checked out Clubhouse 100% yet, but I'm getting there. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Okay. Torso, not Russian enough. I know, what the heck? All right. Okay. Like I said, so I have the Ecrochet here for reference if I want. I also have one up on my screen. But yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So, gonna build out the rib cage a little bit more. Just kind of get the shape. This is the back. So I'm gonna kind of isolate where the spine would be. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, I'm gonna try it. It's Krumel? Krumi? Ah, totally butchered that. I'm really sorry. But thank you so much for the follow. Hello, Art. How you doing? Okay. What I'm gonna do is also just kind of identify with my damn standard where certain things are real quick. But I'm gonna be using the mesh project for some of the muscle placements like the pectoral muscles and so forth. And I think I'm also going to be utilizing, coming in to utilize some of the assets we built to get the position of the neck muscles right in correlation with the arms. So it does help to pull that kind of reference when you can. Hello, hello. How's everybody?
Saying Bob Ross in various different ways in my chat.
Very nice, very nice. So, first thing I like to do with the torso is just kind of identify where the rib cage is. It's very helpful to me. But with the balloon mesh, like I said, I was able to just kind of get a quick sketch of the human body and the shape that I needed. So then I can actually work off of that, so.
And I actually didn't use the balloon mesh today. I used a sphere and snake hook and Dynamesh.
Nice.
Same
that
result.
Works. Same
Different
result. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Keep hitting the...
I'm using my clay build-up to add the muscles instead of using mesh project. I like the mesh project, but I'm trying it with clay build-up again today.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Are you going... So you're doing semi-realistic female character?
Yeah.
Nice. What I've been...
And hopefully she'll be able to be a base mesh for my next character.
Oh, she will be. Because you're not gonna let it defeat you. We've done every other body part. No way you're gonna let it slide on a torso.
Oh, no, I don't mean just like, hopefully the torso works out. I mean, hopefully the whole thing works out to be the base mesh for my next character.
That's true. Okay, that's fair.
But we'll find out when we do our Build-A-Figure.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Alright, so I'm going to use Mesh Project because A, a lot of people like that, and then B, I actually find it very useful. So...
Hi, Pudding!
I'm going to drop that down pretty low. And we're going to go ahead and just...
Oh, I should also say, I have reference off screen, but it has nips, so it's, yeah. So I'm not just using the Ecrochet.
Not the nips! How dare you. Okay. I'm going to focus on the back first. Seems to be, and I'm actually going to No, let's leave that all in there.
Booby ban incoming, right?
Yep. So I'm actually
Then Vertex
going.
and I really will be the Booby ban club.
Yeah.
We were joking about when we were trying to come up with a name for our Discord server. We were joking about calling it the Booby Band Club, and then we're like, maybe we should do it a little more professional than that. But we are still the Booby Band Club.
Yeah.
Well, currently he's the only member, but
Well, you know.
well, actually, I guess you're a member too, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. But I mean, you know, it's funny because like I wasn't sure where my streams were gonna hit. When I started streaming, I was just doing it to motivate myself and connect with other people in the time of COVID. But I definitely, right? But I definitely wanted to start these streams to be a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more, you know, just me. Just because, like, you know, the professional side of me pops out a little bit more on Twitch. I mean, on Pixo Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like here is a nice place to be a little bit more relaxed and stuff, and
yeah,
you know, talk about the things and stuff that people really want to talk about.
Exactly.
Like those NFTs.
Yeah, I can't say I'm necessarily professional on my stream. I'm definitely not. But for our Discord server, we're like, maybe not the Booby Band Club.
Yeah. Okay. So in building the torso, I mentioned that I was actually going to be building out some of the other body parts. So I'm actually going to load in. First off, let's actually save this real quick.
Professional jokester.
Because I think I
sound so familiar. Pudding, if you have seen, this is IR Sculpts. This is I just posted our multi-stream link if you want to watch both of us.
Hello.
He's been streaming for Pixelogic lately, so if you haven't seen him on his personal streams, maybe you've seen him there. Or maybe you were here last week, I don't know.
All is possible. Interesting. Okay, let me see. Maybe I saved it up as a tool. Arms. I think I did save this one as a tool. Alright, so I'm already going to start kind of placing some of this together. So here is my arm from last week. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy that and bring that over to my torso. And I'm just going to paste that giant thing. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Puddin', thank you, thank you.
Alright, well I have a butt showing and I have boobies showing. I don't have nips, but if I haven't been suspended yet, I think I might be okay. Fingers crossed.
Don't push it.
Right.
Alright, so I'm already gonna kind of start kit bashing this a little bit. So to get some of the other attributes, and we'll give his shoulders kind of pushed back a little bit. But this is gonna help me kind of set up for where everything needs to be. I'm gonna mirror and weld it. Or maybe I'm not because it has subdivisions. Fine. Fine. That's totally fine. So we'll just mirror it then. So let's go to Subtool Master and mirror. We'll mirror on the x-axis. Yep, totally fine. Do it. Do it! There we go. Yeah, we'll kind of add that there. Okay, but this is going to help kind of see some of the placements, because looking on the back for me, there are some muscles that go underneath the deltoid, and I kind of need to see where they connect and how the deltoid muscle responds to that. So any way to help yourself out, do it. Okay, let's come back here.
One thing I know from studying anatomy of both male and female figures is when doing the back, on a man you don't necessarily see this, but on a woman you get this kind of diamond-shaped fat pad that's like right at where her butt joins the I can't remember muscle names, but this back muscle, the long one.
I'm gonna peek over. Hold on, I'll peek over because I want to see. Oh, I copied the wrong link. Let me get it. Hold on. Let me pop back over.
Hi, Pancakes.
The way I learned it was like, well, it was Rafael Grassetti's course, and when I was looking at the back, and he was very, very excited to talk about how the lower back of the woman makes like a upside down heart, and he proceeded to explain how it's his favorite part. So... All right, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, there's like a diamond-shaped fat pad right here that not all women have it, but no men have it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's the spot. That's Rafael Grassetti's favorite spot. And now you know.
I actually really like... So, in the dojo, Leo likes to ask people what their favorite insert random thing here is.
Uh-huh.
And at one point he was asking what their favorite part of the body to sculpt is, and it kind of sounded like everybody wanted to say something butt related, but then everyone was saying something else.
Yeah, right. That's pretty funny. What's up, Ruben? Welcome back, buddy. Hello. Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually if you... Yeah.
Also, there's these two dimples left and right of that dimple intersecting with the erectus spinae. Yep.
Yeah. I think people just don't want to seem like they're prudes. You know what I mean? Like they want to say that, yeah, that's... I like that spot. And then, there's the 5-year-old in you that, well, at least in me, that's like, haha, that's your favorite spot. So,
yeah.
I get it.
So, honestly, my favorite part to sculpt is the little indent on the side of the gluteus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the back is the most intriguing, but I really have started being more intrigued by the obliques, and I was really fascinated to learn how the chest works, and how it twists under and connects to the arm, to the humerus muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was super fascinating. Partly learned this... Well, I mean, I always knew it kind of twisted there, but I really got a deep dive just the other day into it because I was watching the fitness community in YouTube, which is crazy, by the way. If you ever want fun drama, that's where you go. But somebody had a pectoral tear while bench pressing, and they showed the video. And so it was fascinating to look at it, but it also cringeworthy because you're just seeing this guy try to bench press, and as he's pressing it down, the whole pec just shifts over to the center of his chest, and you freak out. But then there's a doctor who reviewed it and explained how and why that's even possible, and went through really deep on how the muscles connect. It was so fascinating. So definitely worth the watch. But
Pancakes says the hardest part for me are the forearms.
Oh yeah.
Pudding says, but definitely favorite part to sculpt. Also,
Definitely.
Yeah, Pancakes, that is Ian. I just shared our multi-stream link. And for anybody here who wants to watch both of us, feel free to use the multi-stream link or both of us on Twitch. You could watch him on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now, right?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm
I'm
everywhere.
only on Twitch. But yeah, if you use the multi-stream link, some people get annoyed by the purple screens that pop up. Those are normal, nothing's broken, but they can be annoying. So
Yep.
watch it wherever you'd like.
Yep. See, hello, Pancakes. Hello. I was on the other line. I just realized I was your voice. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yes, Next Nox, fun drama. I.e., like, it's unnecessary drama. It doesn't matter that it exists or not. It's just, like, it's the whole, like, is somebody enhanced or are they natural? It's the whole natty or not conversation. I find it to be fun drama because it doesn't affect me in any way, A. But then B, it's just kind of intriguing to know that that is something that is a talking point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of stretch this up a little bit more, get this a little bit more connected. Yeah, Stallone did have a similar injury, actually. Yeah, I've only heard of a few cases, but apparently when it does happen, it's mainly in men. Daniel Bale gave for free a model he sculpted in his streams. If anyone wants to use it as reference at some point or just for 3D printing, oh my gosh, dude, yes, please. That would be amazing.
Both of us running in separate tabs right now? Nice.
Cool. Thank you so much. I will definitely check that out after the stream for sure. I do want to get to the point where I make my own écrochet. That's definitely happening at some point in time. But for right now.
I made one out of actual clay when I was in grad school, and I loved that class, aside from the fact that the teacher failed me for being 5 to 10 minutes late. But
what can you do?
That's a whole story.
That's more drama.
Yep.
There we go.
I mean, the TLDR being that I worked full-time and was a full-time student and would get home at like 2 in the morning the night before that class, and then I would have to get to the opposite side of the city by 8 a.m. So I was late almost every day.
Ugh, that
and
sucks.
I told him, hey, this is going to be a problem. Also, San Francisco traffic early in the morning.
Yeah, say something, you know? Exactly.
Right. Like, I told him on day 1, this is going to be a problem, is this okay? And he's like, yeah, well, you're fine. And then every single class period, he's like, hey, you're late again. And I'm like, hey, we talked about this. And he's like, oh, right. And then at the end of the class, he killed me.
Yeah, that's
and
stupid.
I was like, you told me I passed. And he's like, you were late every day. And I'm like,
yeah, it's like, come on, you can't win sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually going to be doing the chest muscle in a couple parts. I'm going to be doing it this way, which is the lower part of the pectoral that actually kicks up and then gets like right underneath the arm but connects here. This is why I brought in the arms so that I could utilize the deltoids to the fullest advantage. I'm also going to Z-remesh this a little bit soon because it's getting sloppy. Bring this in. So I'm not bringing the chest fully into itself either because there's the breastplate that these muscles connect to and have little tendons. So I'm actually going to kind of tuck that in a little bit and bring it close as possible. But I will smooth that center part out. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and create the next part of the chest right up here. Have this part connect in and kind of down a little bit. So now we'll be matching where the deltoid should be. Sculpting a stylized gorilla at the moment. And he is so freakishly jacked. Hell yeah, pancakes. Get jacked. Oh wait, Ryan, did I share that video somewhere? What video? Oh, the pectoral tear? I did not share it. I didn't want to gross anybody out. But I mean, I could share the video where the guy goes into how the pectoral muscle works specifically, but it is in relation to the pectoral tear. So what I will say is I will post it because I found this doctor's point of view very enlightening, but, you know, kind of watch at your own discretion. But it is really, really cool. So I will share that, but just click with, just note. But then, yeah. But it is really cool because he explains the pectoral muscle pretty well. So, if you click this link, you will know what I'm talking about. It's fascinating to me, too, because I don't mind looking at injury videos. Anything that's going to help me kind of be smarter or try something a little bit more wise, or just have the understanding of that's how it works. But this guy's explanation was really good, so yep, that's what you want to see. Enjoy, have fun. We'll chat about it later or now.
I don't mind watching any injuries, except I think we were talking about this the other day. Eyes and nails are the two things that get me squeamish.
Yep. Okay, so I do want to chat real quick to obviously I've been chatting this whole time, but there is a very interesting spot that I used to get wrong all the time, and that is right where the deltoid and the chest muscle meet. There is a gap there between the clavicle and those muscles. It forms like a little triangular gap there. I'm just gonna hit auto groups and mirror and weld. So that's something I really try to focus on when I'm placing the pec muscles down. Is I'll actually I'll select the underside and kind of take the standard brush and kind of carve just above that muscle a little bit and kind of place where the clavicle should be. And then with the arm, I'm actually going to stretch that part up, get that all in the right place, and have that part connect over to the clavicle itself. So my arms are going to need to be a little bit adjusted.
Oreo says, eyes get me too. Yeah,
So I'm actually going to go ahead too and... No, that should be fine. Give them boulder shoulders, as they say. But it's a really good spot to kind of remember how this part hits, so make sure that that gets connected. Yeah. Yep, there's a hole. Yep, absolutely. I'm very lean, so I can really get in there. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not as lean. I want to get leaner, but yeah, I can feel it in me too. If I just lift my arm up, you can just put your thumb there. You can naturally just put your thumb there. Actually, that's the really cool trick. Is that if you just lift your arms up and bend, you can poke yourself there. AKA, it's also a pressure point. So it's gonna be random, but I wonder which you prefer, sculpt and retail. Wait, hold on. Sorry. So it's going to be random, but I wonder which do you prefer better, sculpt than retopo, box model than sculpt on top of that? I prefer sculpting and then retopoing over box modeling. I feel like box modeling for me is a very clinical approach. And the sculpting aspect is a little bit more creative. So yeah, it's definitely, I prefer to sculpt and then to retopo.
So I learned box modeling first, because when I first learned modeling, ZBrush was kind of like an optional skill. Now it's like if you want to get into an industry somewhere that does 3D, you have to know ZBrush. But
yep.
At the time, it was like you have to know Maya or 3ds Max, but ZBrush is helpful? Question mark.
Yes.
But yeah, so I learned poly modeling first, and honestly, because I learned poly modeling first, like we would do high res in Maya, and then we would have to retopo that. So even if I do box modeling, I still have to do retopo.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even if you keep it super clean, like let's say your box modeling is so clean that you're like even impressed with yourself.
I'd probably still have to go fix a few things.
That makes sense. Okay. Now under the
Also,
arm... Oh, go ahead.
Modeling, you're not necessarily using that topology for animation. There's a very big difference between like sculpting and trying to get detail in their topology versus animatable topology.
Right. Yep. No, I completely agree. It's always purpose driven, right? Retopoing, like you're gonna want to retopo if there's a actual need for it. And usually, if you're just making something that's going to get 3D printed or manufactured but never animated, then the chances that you're going to need to retopo it are pretty low. But that doesn't mean you can't benefit from it either. I've seen a lot
Right.
of guys who do statue work still go through the retopo phase on really important features or sculpts that like it's the edge flow is just going to help. But ZBrush has gotten it to the point where ZRemesher is so good, and with Polygroup It and plugins like, So Much Monsters, you can actually get really good edge flow to where you don't have to do that anymore unless you are trying to get something for animation. So, there's always a purpose for it. So,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, since I do Game Ready, I have to do retopo.
Yes, you do.
One way or the other, it has to happen.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this body, actually, is I'm going to go ahead and ZRemesh it. So I'm going to keep groups, speaking of ZRemesher, and we'll keep it at 5, and let's see what we get. Because right now the mesh is really dense. That's the problem with Mesh Project. It gets really dense really quickly, so having something to work off of that's a little lower res and a little bit better to manipulate is going to just be easier as a whole.
I'm going to show you guys what reference I'm using right now. So this is only a third of it. There are 2 front views, but I can't show the front views because nipples. But
No.
because of the shadows on this, I am now going to look up more reference for the back because I can't really see what's going on up in this area. And also, I'd rather have something that's not somebody else's sculpt as a reference for things that I'm less comfortable with.
Right. That makes sense.
And I don't know the back as well as the front, so...
That's all right. So the boulder feels conflicted about fighting a young blind. What? I thought a night leg cramp was a nightmare, but that guy beats me in the pain department. Yeah, absolutely. Martin, I told you not to click it, buddy. I warned you. You guys have you go back. Check the VOD. It's possible. Yeah, it's terrible.
It makes my titty hurt.
Which I'm trying to do, but one step at a time. Get less sucky at sculpting character topo. Yep. I'm telling you, Mafava, just join me in the toy making world. Throw Retopo out the window. Nah, I still tell people you do absolutely need to know how to Retopo. Even if you don't use it on a regular basis, it's only going to benefit you. So, okay. So the other thing I'm working with the chest too at the same time is the arms. And making sure that the deltoid muscles, so your deltoids kind of round forward a little bit, and then when you lift your arm, they rotate back. So it's imperative to show most of the deltoid from the front, and when you turn around, that the third deltoid head on the back is not as visible. So keeping in mind how they rotate with each other is super important. And then you can bring your clavicle bone up to meet that little pocket I've created with the deltoid, which would provide you the proper intersection point between the 2 body parts. And also, too, the clavicle gives you kind of like it's like a Cupid's bow almost. So something just to keep in mind. Just gonna drop a bunch of random shit that I know.
That's what we're here for, isn't it?
That's it, yep. Alright. I sculpted a mask for commission this weekend, retopoed it for super clean, sexy edges, says NextNox. I was on the fence, but I'm glad I did it that way. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it helps and benefits, for sure, yeah. I've retopoed a couple things. I mean, you guys watched me retopo Grogu's shirt because I wasn't getting the proper thing or the look that I wanted. So I ended up retopoing his shirt just because it benefited it. It made sense.
My beetle is deep in the Retopo world right now, and I do have really clean topology in ZBrush,
Uh-huh.
but it's not... Like, he doesn't need to deform, so I don't need to worry about animatable topology.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't just use the topology I have in ZBrush because a lot of his parts are actually, like, he has, say, 12 meshes, 12 subtools that make up one part. So I have to retopologize those parts together.
Fun.
Yep. It's like his shell right now. I've been working on his shell for anyone who's seen that. It's just big round shell plane, but then it has spikes coming out of it, and the spikes are each made up of like 5 different subtools because they have rings around the bases, and yeah. So retopologizing that all as one piece, and then like each joint is, I think, 6 or 7 subtools, and those need to all be one piece, and yeah.
Yep, all sounds good.
So a lot of people are like, oh, why don't you just use the topology you have in ZBrush? And I'm like, I could, but then I have a lot more pieces than I need to have.
Right.
That's not
Yep. That's okay. Watch that video, Ryan says. That is very interesting how thin that connection is, right? And the fact that it rotates, that it's a complete 180 flip, and the way that part that's the little part that connects to the humerus. It's that whole pack, and then it attaches from the breastplate to that little humerus muscle or bone, and it's just that little flip. It's weird. It's really cool too. Turbosity? I'm not sure. Hey, what's up, Inspire? Welcome, everybody. It's interesting how different the approach to find shapes can be. Like the building block style you do here, I kind of brute force things most of the time. Yeah, I'm trying something a little bit new too. I'm used to blocking things out with the way I learned how to approach character design with Shane Olson. But I'm trying to like kind of utilize some of the new features a little bit more. Because I find that you can get some pretty cool stuff happening.
I love balloon mesh. I didn't use it today, but I do love it.
Yeah. I don't use it every time. Although I used it very heavily in the speed sculpt last night. Extremely heavily.
And I think that's part of why I was moving so slow, because I was just like, just kind of on autopilot. And then like halfway through, I'm like, didn't I use balloon mesh?
Okay. So now I need to get the butt going. But what? All right, let's go in the torso real quick. I'm going to save this. I'm going to bring in... So I'm slowly bringing in the parts that I need to help correct things. So I'm going to go ahead and load. Go to the legs.
Belcher butts.
I think this is the proper leg. Oh, this was not the finished leg. Okay. Okay, no leg. Alright, we'll delete all on that one. Let's go back to the arm. I don't need this arm anymore. When you're saving projects, delete the things you don't need anymore. So you can hover over that section, hit delete all, and it'll delete that part. I don't need the Ryan Kingsley model anymore on both sides, so I'll delete all on that. I have it here, built in within, so I can go ahead and delete this. This is going to save you so much time and effort. So let's go ahead and save it real quick. So go to the torso. I'm trying to stay a bit more organized these days.
What's that like?
I'm trying. Oh. Okay, maybe that was correct. Okay. Well, I think... Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. I did grab the right one. I'm going to copy that. Paste it. Bloop. Come in here, delete what we don't need. Alright, there we go. And of course, this is where proportions are gonna matter, so... But we're gonna try to put the leg where we need it to be. And I'm going to use the Ryan Kingsley model as a guide. I'm going to solo that out for a second. Just put this here. Shift S to stamp it. Now, I know this is a male character versus female, but this will still give us a pretty general idea if the sizing is correct. Scale that down, stretch that a little bit.
Alright. I'm already fairly happy with my torso, so I'm going to start loading in my other parts and see how it's looking proportion-wise.
Next says, was the tear humorous? Dad joke for the win. All right.
It just reminded me, there's a game streamer I watch. He's like one of 2 gamers I actually watch. But he hates puns, and one of his point redemptions is that you can pay to tell him a bad pun.
Oh, funny.
And he made his own pun last night, and then he was playing Fall Guys, made his own pun, and then died immediately. And he's like, "That's what I get. That's what I get for telling puns."
That's what you
And
get.
I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, you could call that your punishment. He's like, "Oh God."
That's pretty good. I like it. J. Crew, do you try to put the bony landmarks first or the muscles or after the muscles? I actually kind of do both at the same time. The bony landmarks kind of indicate where the muscles connect and where the planes change. But I try to work everything equally as much as possible. But some bony landmarks, like the wrist bone or the elbow on that little point on the inside, when your arm is straight, I end up putting those in last most of the time, but I try to work them together as much as possible. Okay. Let's see. I used a new mask extrude to create some nice Boolean tools the other day. Yeah, I'm really excited with how amazing that these features are for sure. Definitely try that. Yeah, thanks for mentioning. No problem. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Wonder if the pecs were attached. I wondered if the pecs were attached to the deltoid. Bodybuilders would have shoulder pad size. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it all kind of, it's like the chest connects to the inside of that arm, but then the deltoid kind of wraps over it. I mean, yeah, boulder shoulders is a real deal. They call them 3D shoulders now too. I find that a fascinating trend.
Huh.
Yeah. If you hear somebody talk about bodybuilding, you'll either hear boulder shoulders or you'll hear something of the extent of like, man, his 3D arms are popping. It's so weird. It's a very weird, and that's what I mean. Like I'm very.
But all of our arms are 3D. I hope.
Yes, they are. But you know what I mean. Like it's super fascinating to me that that's the lingo always changes with the times.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Also realized too, I need to bring this up a little bit. Bring them in and kind of.
I just realized
rotate
I was making my female mesh more muscular than, like, I think the arm was really the only thing that I made super muscular because it was the first part we made.
Yeah.
And then I forgot that I was going like bodybuilder female.
Oh right, yeah.
For the rest of it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's okay. When you start, like, I'm already bringing in certain body parts to get the right shape. Like the torso, especially for, for a male's torso, I'm trying to get, like, the right shape and tone of it. So I've already brought in my arms and some legs so that I can kind of work off of those for scale and reference.
Yeah, I'm bringing mine all in one go.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to create a base mesh, if I were to create like not a base mesh, if I were to create like a bust of sorts for any character, I usually end up sculpting a good chunk of the character. Just because I find it easier to work off of all those references. But that's just me. So I'm going to kind of rotate that forward. And here I'm also going to bend his arm just a little bit. Just a little bit. Flare that out. Yeah, I found garlic clove helped me sculpt accurate deltoids. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I've always kind of known how to sculpt a deltoid. It's always been one of my easier muscles to figure out because watch a lot of Dragon Ball. And if you look at how they draw the deltoids in Dragon Ball, it's just those three muscles. It's like just an oval shape, and then they add the three lines, and that's it. Like, it's like the easiest thing to draw. So I've kind of always kind of knew how to approach it. Interestingly enough. But that's cool too. Okay, I'm gonna grab this guy. I'm gonna kind of wrap this in the rest of the way. I'm gonna push this. So we need to kind of create the armpit too. So it's imperative to get that to kind of tuck in a little bit. And then get that part going here. Now we can draw the obliques coming in soon. Let's get the lat the rest of the way. I always sculpt a lot of bust that I always sculpt a lot of a bust than I need. Ah, makes sense. Yeah, looking like a pretty sick superhero suit right now, right? Yeah. We're getting there. Okay. Alright, I think what I'm going to do, kind of just looking at my reference and clicking how this muscle connects. Okay, that makes sense. Grab this one. Oops. Alright, so I need to auto groups, mirror and weld it. I can bring this part up here. And then we'll do the obliques next. The obliques are going to be fun, so I'm actually going to increase the intensity a little bit.
You study proportions too? Yep.
Yep.
But that's part of doing anatomy. Oh, I already sculpted her butt. I forgot I did the butt on the leg.
Okay. Let me go ahead and grab
now
that.
I can choose which one I like better.
A lot more of the bust, yeah. This does have that Avenger. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Quantum Realm look. It does, absolutely, right? Yeah. Kind of gotta tuck that part in. I'm gonna bring this part up. Kind of just shaping it a little bit.
I love this. I did her right arm and left leg. I did her left hand and right foot. So none of the parts actually fit together the way they should right now. I love it.
That's awesome. Oh, I hear that stream raiders. Alright, we'll hit that up in a second. That's super funny. Well, luckily, there's mirror and then there's mirror and weld, so
yes,
you'll be okay with figuring out the good chunk of that. All right, battle's ready. 1 second. We'll get to that. What's interesting too is like, again, another mistake I made a lot in the beginning of learning anatomy, was realizing that I always thought the obliques were shorter than they actually were.
Mm.
And so I always had a hard time getting that look right, especially when I was doing like muscular characters. But then I've actually gotten a lot of that fixed, which is pretty cool. Go ahead and go ahead and tap what we don't need. And again, the obliques kind of wrap around. Now, the obliques are one of the harder muscles to showcase too, so, you know, there's about 5 or 6 muscles that come in here, but I'm not going to be putting them all in, because when we blend it together, I'm not going for super roided out look. So it's not necessary to put every part in, just enough to get that information. But knowing that there's a lot there gives you room. Alright, cool. Cool. So yeah, it's already looking pretty cool. Alright, let's go to Stream Raider. Kamara Sculpt has that NFT-ish look. Oh no!
That's it.
Yeah, because
Not sure how to take that.
Well, guys. Yeah, you know, I actually I'll brave it. So I actually saw Andrew Price, aka the Blender Guru guy, come up with a really cool video about NFT that I thought was neat. And at the end of it, it was pretty much just about like perspective, putting everything into perspective and how everybody's handling it, and the craziness that there are artists who are getting judged for doing it. There are artists who are getting judged for not being a part of it, the harassment. It's just like a really big thing, but it was interesting to hear his point of view, and I highly recommend anybody, if you guys want to talk about NFT respectfully, you can join my Discord, and I have an NFT chat in there where you guys can come in, and it's really just to share knowledge and stuff like that. Slowly art. There you go. But it is interesting. I find it to be a very interesting time that we're in, especially since NFT isn't. I wouldn't consider it new. It's new as far as crypto is concerned, but it's not new as far as concept. And it was first created in 2017. So. With CryptoKitties.
It's really not much different from how fine art has worked forever.
Exactly, you know. And while there's pros, there's also cons to everything, right? Like, and I think that's a big thing that everybody has to remember. But yeah, I find it to be extremely fascinating time to be talking about just the idea of it as a whole. And I know that there are some artists. I know Beeple was kind of the poster child for it, but at the same time too, like, you know, it does bring out the conversation piece of, hey, artists may actually be able to hold a career without being completely freelance dependent. So, but I found it interesting because Andrew Price's points were very much of like, hey, you know, while we do need to be aware of it, and it's great that we do have the talking points of like what's bad for the environment and stuff like that, it is like perspective, and researching that perspective and getting that knowledge first and foremost is more important than just going on a blaming tirade. Not that anybody here has done that. Actually, it's been pretty positive experience for me as far as being able to talk about it without somebody ranting and raving. So
really quick, Oreo, yes, you can do kitty treat.
Do it.
And thank you for the hydrate, citizen.
Yeah, his video was great and very much parallels my feelings. Exactly, parallels my feelings too. That's, yeah. So.
I must obtain a kitty.
I think it was, I thought it was really well done. And I think too that just, I've always been the type that's like, hey, let's have a conversation more so than
Yeah.
anything else. I've always been that guy. So, I think it can serve a lot of. I think there could be a lot of good talking about it and stuff. I just tell people, just do your research. Research first and then make a decision. That's probably the best thing you can do. Okay. Now, I didn't really focus on sculpting the glutes that much when I made these legs. So I'm going to Z-remesh these, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of sculpt in the gluteus maximus and minimus. And there's another one. I don't know what it is, but, Yeah, sustainable profits. If you have to unload, it is the dangerous part of anything that trades and sells, as long as you know what you're getting into. Exactly. Know what you're getting into. Don't just do it to do it. Unless you really want to. But yeah, for me, I've always had to understand anything before I just dive in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, not doing a lick.
Okay, so based on where I have his legs, they actually seem a little bit short. So I may have to lengthen his legs a little bit, but no, actually I think his arms are a little short. So we're going to stretch his arms out, bring that down. There we go. Yep, there we go. That's better. And let's go ahead and bring in a few other fun stuff. So let's save this. Not under legs, under torso. That's where it all comes together. Actually, no, I think that's a good placement. I was gonna bring in his hands, but I don't think I need to do that. I think his wrist position is pretty close. So, okay. Now, this is what I do really like about the mesh project, is that it will also cover other subtools. It'll also recognize other subtools within your viewport. So, for example, I'm going to redo these glute muscles, and by doing so, I'll be able to kind of draw them on pretty well, and it'll recognize the butt. So let's do that.
Oh, you leaving? Bye, Luna.
Yeah, but it has been fun making my coffee book with all the new Archon around. Yeah, it's been an adventure, man. It's been interesting for sure. It's funny now. I got a invite from this weird company. I have never heard of them, so I obviously didn't click on it. But I found it to be intriguing that the invite came through, and then I looked up their website by not clicking the link. Don't just click links. Please don't do that. But it was very interesting to be able to.
I did hydrate.
It was very interesting actually to kind of check out the company and to see what people were doing with it. Yeah, it's an interesting time. I guess that's really just it. Okay, let's go 6. Let's go auto groups. Let's go mirror and no, not group by normals. Auto groups.
Yeah, hydrate with more monster though.
Mirror and weld. I'm gonna Z remesh and keep these groups. There we go. Hit this one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, and let's go ahead and Z remesh so I can move these around a little bit easier. Never click links from emails you don't know. Martin. Exactly. You'd be surprised how you still have to say that.
That's one thing that I really like about Gmail these days is you can preview things without actually opening a link.
Yeah, well, you do have to be careful about that still, though.
Well, yeah, but
Hackers are getting smart. Or,
yeah.
I mean,
but,
they're
like,
already
if
pretty
it's-
smart.
If it's something that just straight up looks sus, I'm not gonna open it at all.
Exactly.
But if it's something that I'm like, this, you know, if it seems like something related to something I've been looking into lately, like maybe I've been applying for jobs, I'll at least open the email, but like you can see what a link is without actually opening it.
You know what I'll do? If I'm really like, if I'm intrigued to open an email, I will do it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
My phone is cheaper than my computer.
Right.
So if I have to replace something,
my phone is,
it's my phone.
My phone is old and dying as it is.
Yeah. So if I have to, yeah, if I'm really curious on an email and I'm like, okay, I feel like I should click that. You know, I don't click the links within the email. I always check elsewhere. But yeah, if I'm intrigued enough to open an email, but I'm cautious, I go straight to my phone, get off my Wi-Fi, straight on my LTE, and then I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's open this page up. And 9 times out of 10, it's fine when I do it that way. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is coming together pretty well, I think. Now, I'm gonna make my abs. I'm gonna carve in the abs. I'm actually not going. I don't like making symmetrical abs because I've never seen anybody with symmetrical abs. So I usually don't bother trying to make my abs symmetrical. I usually leave my base mesh with like a washboard look, if anything else, where you can kind of see where everything is supposed to be, but I don't dive straight in with the abs because I feel like that could be a character trait, you know what I mean? Like having, I've never seen 2 bodybuilders with the same abs, my point, I guess. But I do bring this, I don't know what this is called, so I'm going to call it the ab wall. But this, the outer wall, the band that wraps around your torso that supports your back. And I actually kind of fluff that up a little bit so that there's a little bit of a separation between the two. And then I will just kind of bring the center of that belly forward a bit. So it's kind of round, but you have this like little point right here because there is that somebody who's really been working out, you get that cut. So only invite I get is from Foreigner Banks saying I inherited $3 million. Some abs look like unibrows too. Yeah, they do, absolutely. Yeah. What's really interesting is I going down the fitness train that I've been doing. There's like a way you can flex your abs to straighten them out. But most people, they're like, yeah, they're kind of angled. And there's only so much you can do. Genetics play a huge part. But there are some people who look like they have bear claw abs where it looks like they were shredded. But then I guess they just kind of flex out where I guess you can flex down and in. It's weird. I'm telling you, it's all sorts of cool shit that I've really just been diving into. So... all right, I actually think I'm at a point where I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and save. And I'm getting ready to want to merge everything together now and finish forming it up a bit. So we have the legs.
I'm not merging my stuff yet. I am working on proportions because, oh man, my Build-A-Figure is interesting proportions.
Interesting proportions. Now what I will do is I will take the glute muscles out and I'm going to split hidden on that and I'm going to merge those down with my legs. I'm going to call these the legs and I will merge these down so that way when I Z-remesh this I can control the leg portion and the torso and then finalize the proportions when I need it. So I'm going to duplicate this one and then we're going to go ahead and it's already Z-remeshed, so at this point now, I'm just going to go ahead and apply my dynamic subdivision. So now I have multiple subdivisions. And then I'm going to go ahead and geometry delete hidden, turn off symmetry, reset the gizmo to the center. And I lied. I'm actually not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and dynamesh it.
You lied.
I did, yep. I didn't really lie. I didn't say it out loud, I guess. But I was going to remesh by union, but then I decided that dynamesh master is a much better approach for me. So I'm going to go 0.25s. And I'm going to... I always find that dynameshing and then smoothing and then zero meshing is just a much better workflow for me.
Mm-hmm.
My abs are symmetrical, perfectly round. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you
I
are
used to have
just...
a t-shirt that said, of course I'm in shape. Round is a shape.
Round is a shape, yep.
He also had one that said, I have the body of a god, unfortunately it's Buddha.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, then we're all in good shape.
Yeah.
No. Hey, I say whatever makes people, whatever makes people happy. Just want people to...
As long as it's not harming other people, go for it.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Alright.
Arms
So,
and legs so long and skinny.
okay, so I'm gonna start smoothing a lot of this together. I'm gonna bring these in. I'm also kind of inflating a little bit where the connection is a little wonky. And then I dynamesh it again. Kind of smooth those portions out a bit. See here, right here, there's a little dip here before the ab insertions. So kind of helps you get that frame a little bit. Smooth this part down. Smooth that there. I'm actually going to take the clay buildup now and start cleaning some of this up. I think the last time I saw my abs, I was in 9th grade.
Even when I was in super good shape and I was fairly skinny and doing like marching band and horseback riding and all kinds of stuff, I've never been able to see my abs. Like I was skinny and you could never see my abs.
I was skinny, so you could see my abs when I was younger. Could see them a little bit when I did a lot of martial art training, but I was also the guy who ate everything. So I would have a cheeseburger or two and then jump on the mat. So I held a lot of body fat. Even so I was like skinny fat, but I was also very active.
I was a little bit on the unhealthy side body fat wise, like I was a little too low. Still couldn't see my abs.
Yeah, that's all right.
And that's that happens with some people, especially women. Sometimes you can't see abs, and it's not worth trying to because it can be really unhealthy to try and make them visible if they just don't want to come out.
Yeah. To get to a certain part, to a point, yeah, it could be. You got to be careful, especially when you're trying to. Because that's the thing, like in getting back into working out and trying to be somewhat relatively fit, you immediately hit the talking points of, okay, well, ideally you'd want to get to a body fat percentage between 10 to 15%, which is that's healthy for most men, but then there's those guys who are like, oh, I'm 5, 6, 8% body fat. It's like that it's when you start getting lower, you also start getting yourself introducing risks of getting sick more often, having to have more nutritional standards because the fat does protect you. protects you from things like getting sick, and providing energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's interesting too when you know you start getting into those conversations, which is why I just really decided to ignore whatchamacallit. I really wanted to ignore the full-on nutrition and just slowly change my diet over time instead of going all in. Like, I'd rather start working out and then start changing my diet. I feel like that's a good way to play it safe and not make drastic changes.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of bubbled up this area a little bit too much, so I'm gonna come back in with the damn standard and kind of clean that up a bit. Okay. So I'm just using the clay buildup. I'm also using the clay buildup and putting down material as kind of like the fibers of the muscle would be. I find that to be a pretty cool trick too, because you can get some fun details that way. Smooth that down. Sort of had abs when I was a teen and skateboarded every day. Oh yeah, skateboarding burns so many calories. Yeah. I think I was my skinniest when I skateboarded after high school. During and after. Yeah, I changed my lifestyle and my thought process as an artist and developer that sits all day. Preach it, brother. I am for the first time ever since junior high seeing my abs. Nice, dude. Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Just trying to change my lifestyle and be happier with, I'm looking at it as it's a life journey, not a diet, not a fad.
Right.
So I want to do this, but I want to make sure that I do it for a long time. Also, too,
The Citizen says going all in sounds totally. Going all in sounds totally like destroying your fundamentals and basically falling through the floor. I'll take the long road, please.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I've had a wake up call with my dad too. My dad has had to have his heart restarted twice. He's had multiple. He's just had a surgery for his knee not too long ago. He's also has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Now he does kind of not give a shit too, and he drinks beer like it's going out of style. But he doesn't eat super unhealthy from what I've seen. Like, he's not, he's not a pinnacle of health, but he's also not bad. So it's and he's only, I guess he's getting older there. He's 66 now. But his health problems started kicking in when he was in his 50s. I'm 37. So I'm
yeah.
Ooh, lordy. But he's never worked out. He's never done any of that stuff. So I feel like, Dad, there's something you could do.
Yeah.
So that is part of it too. I'm motivated with the idea that I could change my life for the better. Yeah, same. I'm trying to get
my
it.
My dad actually, so he died 8 years ago, I think.
Oh, wow.
But it was, so he died in a motorcycle accident, but we always thought it was going to be something related to his weight. And all of a sudden one day he just decided he was going to lose weight, and he did. And
good for him.
It was kind of crazy. He wasn't quite skinny, but he was the thinnest I've ever seen him in my life.
Yeah. That's good though, to just wake up and be yep, gonna change all this now. No, it's
he
great.
used to do this thing where he would wake up in the middle of the night, and if we had any sort of dessert or any sweets in the house or anything, he'd wake up in the middle of the night and go have little tiny itty bitty portions of it. and he always joked that if you cut it small enough, the calories fall out.
God, I wish that was the case.
Right. But then he would just keep doing that over and over until, like, say it was a cake. He's eaten 2/3 of the cake.
Jesus.
Where, like, in his eyes, he's been eating such tiny slivers of it that nobody's gonna notice a difference. But
Right.
then we'd wake up in the morning and 2/3 of the cake is gone, and we're like,
Yo, where's the cake?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same with us. Mufafa's been trying to get into a lifestyle as well. It's the best thing to do, man. Also, too, working out really does help with depression. I'm gonna mention that first and foremost as somebody who does deal with it.
Yeah.
It's very
It
helpful.
can be really hard to start when you have depression, but yeah, if you can get into that habit, it is super helpful.
Yeah, it really does like give you endorphins and make you feel good. So I highly recommend it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also deal with all that fun stuff. Yay!
Yay for us.
Comes with my ADHD.
Yeah, it's tough.
My ADHD causes anxiety and depression. It's fun.
Standing desk is the best thing you could buy as an artist. Do you have one, Martin? I had one at work when I was in a studio for the film industry, and it was fun from time to time. It wasn't an automated one, so it was a pain in the ass. And I just would stand up and go to the printer and hang out there. Like I would just get up from my desk and be like, yeah, I'm out for a second. Especially working long hours, unless I was like trying to crunch something, of course. But yeah.
See, I've never actually tried a standing desk while doing art, but I feel like I'm just so used to the position that I use my tablet in that it would be weird to get used to. And like I have armrests, and I use my armrests while I'm sculpting.
Me too.
But for coding, I have used standing. Well, I've made like a makeshift standing desk for myself at one point, and it was all right. But I can also say that after years of working retail and standing all day, every day, that's not actually, like, it's not necessarily any better or worse. It can be worse. It can be better. It depends.
I would get tired of, it was the way my desk was set up. I know that. I would just get tired of having to move things in order to get it to stand up.
Right.
Like, if I were to buy one...
if you have the option of going up or down, that's fine. But if you have to do one or the other...
But if I were to buy it, I would definitely set it up in a way that made it easy to adjust. So, I mean, it's just...
Right.
I guess for me, it's that purchase commitment that I'm really like... I can't afford to buy one myself. I've seen them as high as $2,000.
I have duct tape on my desk chair. I can't afford a standing desk.
Yeah. I want one. IKEA makes a base for my desk that lifts, but it's $600. Oh wow. Anatomy.
Yeah, they so a lot of retail workers end up just like standing in one place for a long period of time, and that's, you know, working a cash register or something.
Yeah.
They've found that actually causes a lot of back issues later in life.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So you don't want to be standing all the time either. And like with my setup, it would be one or the other. I wouldn't be able to go back and forth. So sitting is better for me. Like, it's easier for me to get up and just move around a bit here and there than it is to have a standing desk and then alternate.
Yeah. Hi, Kibo. Baru, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. We're doing anatomy studies. I'm dual streaming with a very talented artist, Kamara, she works in the video game industry, but we are both doing anatomy. I've chosen a male base that I'm gonna be working on, and then once we get the base finished, I'll be converting it to female, and she's working on a female, and then I think she'll convert it to male. Or I'll just give her my male one, whichever works, because we did it together. It's totally fine.
I haven't really thought about whether I'll convert this one to a male, or if I'll just make another one that'll be a male. Dunno. I do want to do an ecrochet at some point, so I could potentially make that male and make it into a base mesh. But
yeah,
the next character I'm going to work on for personal projects is female, so definitely gonna try and use this as my base mesh.
Yeah, nice. Let's see. What price do you think we're talking about? We're talking about the a standing desk. Ryan uses a high desk and an art stool, and he's 6'4". So, brother, we're like the same height. So, I'd actually love to see your setup. That'd be cool. I saw an adjustable height desk on Wayfair for $289. Really? They've gotten that low? That's really cool if they've gotten that low.
Mm-hmm.
Male buttocks. Yep. Trying not to get banned, but I keep showing the butt. My partner has one, and if he doesn't stand enough during the day, he has hip problems in the evening. Ah, yeah, that can definitely do it. Has he tried stretching? Because I blew my back out. I blew my lower back out. Going on 2 years ago at a Tough Mudder. And I have this hip twinge that I've been stretching out and noticing it's been getting better slowly with doing squats and deadlifts and then stretching, lots of stretching. But from time to time, it'll cramp up and I gotta like rub it out. Sorry, that sounded bad. Gotta like, massage that area and stretch. And it's working on flexibility with hip twists and stuff does help. So yeah, they should all be adjusted. Additionally, you need a standing mat, standing on wood floor all day, so it's also bad. Yeah. As somebody who stood at a machine, working 2 machines in aerospace for 12 years, I will be the first to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I have worked retail most of my working career. It's basically since I was 18 or 16, that number, when I first started working. I've had like 2 jobs that weren't retail, but they both still involved standing all day.
Yeah.
The character art job is my first time that I'm not standing all day. And yeah, I'm 33 and I have back issues because of it. And it doesn't matter if we have the stress mats, like that helps, but it really just delays the issues.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, as I think it was Ninar said, you're not supposed to do it all day.
Yeah, you're supposed to switch between the two. You're supposed to sit for a little bit, then stand, then sit, then stand. Like you can.
I just noticed I've been missing my chat because I had my Streamlabs hidden.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, she's not ignoring you. I promise, guys. We just got her distracted.
Yeah, I am very distractible.
Sit down is no good for back either. Squat, cycling. Yep. Yeah. When I've been doing a lot of getting back into working out, I've actually have really researched into natural bodybuilding and just like the classic exercises that Arnold used to talk about in the day, seeing some modern day fitness approaches to things, and really just making it a lifestyle. And I actually feel a lot better. I feel a lot more just positive lately. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and
Citizen said, being healthy means both body and mind. I think are both equally important, though seeing people who either doesn't take care of his mental or physical health and seeing them succeed can get me very envious, but if it works for them, good. I just hope the crash won't be too harsh on them. I think that was from when we were talking about exercise helping depression.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a fine balance.
Emmy says, yeah, it's not ideal. Worked retail for years.
Yep.
Next Nox, I definitely sit too much. My watch gets mad at me.
Oh, mine too. Mine just told me to stand up right now.
I can't afford a fancy watch like that, but I want one.
I don't have room
Emmy
for...
says, also can be posture related. I found that I never stood right, and it was my feet more than anything that weren't happy. Now it's the opposite. I sit too much. See,
yeah,
that's actually something I found with my ADHD, because I'm so easily distractible, because I have ADHD. If I'm not streaming, I just randomly get up and walk around and do other things, and so it's actually very rare that I sit still that long.
Interesting.
DQ, thank you for the raid.
Yep.
How are you today? How was your stream?
Uh,
We're working on
yoga.
Anatomy Week. And yeah, Hakibaru. Yep, we are streaming with IR Sculpts again. And
Yep.
here is our multi-stream link.
Yeah. Yeah. Hakibaru
I'll tell you
says
before.
yoga stream one day. If I had the room in my house to do a yoga stream, then when you see IR Fitness pop up one day, guys,
Right.
that's what we're doing. Top people and back problems. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I actually take inspiration from some of my old um, martial art mentors and affiliates that I knew back in the day, because really seeing how particularly when Asian cultures get older, they seem to be pretty active. They seem to be walking around a lot. In fact, my grandmaster, he's Korean, he was 60 something years old when I started training under him, and he was more fit than I was at 25. And I really got a chance to enter his life at some point, being an instructor under him and really getting to know his family and his relatives and just his friends, and seeing that community and seeing how here are a bunch of people far older than me walking circles around me. I was like, I want to get there one day. I want to be able to. And they always said, just stay active, just be active. That was always their tip, just be active. And it's like, oh, okay. And I know that's easier said than done, but
Stream went okay, kind of annoying. Forgot how to deal with UVs. Oh no. I feel like I've forgotten how to deal with Retapo lately. That's what I've been working on. My personal stuff.
yes, my Kwanjunim, I took Taekwondo for 4 years. I got my first dan in Taekwondo and my first dan in Hapkido, and but then I had a lot of stuff in life happen, so I kind of pivoted out of it. But did he go by Mr. Miyagi? No, he didn't. No, Kwanjunim, oh my god.
I just
I don't wanna
noticed
butcher his
Hakibaru
name.
says
Lim.
exercise releases endorphins, so it's a
Yeah.
win-win for mental and physical health. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, JK Lim. JK Taekwondo was the studio I went to, and Grandmaster Lim and his son, who was a master at his school. It was cool. It was fun. I miss those days. Maybe one day I'll be able to get back and do it a little bit.
I miss riding horses.
Would
That
love
was
to
my
trade
thing.
back.
I
love
always
to-
wanted to get into martial arts, but I've always either been too busy or not had the money.
Yeah, martial arts can be a little expensive out the gate for sure. The trick I tell people is when you go to look at a studio and you really want to get into studying martial arts, look at how the instructors are. If there's a ton of instructors, then usually that school is more of a black belt factory. But if there's a handful of instructors, when you go to sign up, actually, if you have interest, if you have legitimate interest in learning martial arts and diving pretty deep into it, actually suggest that you are very interested in instructing as well, because I was able to basically pick up a instructor's job by indicating the reasons why I wanted to join martial arts in the first place was not only for physical fitness and health, but also because I wanted to own a studio one day. And he was really intrigued, and so he introduced me into the school as a student for a few months, and then he started talking to me on a regular basis about my interest in instructing, and then he ended up paying me my wage, which basically took my $120 a month payment down to $1. And then so he basically handed me a paycheck, and it was just literally like I got $1 for instructing, but it covered the cost of my tuition, and a lot of times he just charged me $1 to take the tests. So I saved a lot of money because I was super interested in teaching. And a good school will actually hone in on those who do want to instruct, because they'll want to actually kind of like lift you up, and it's going to benefit them too. So there's encouragement there.
Yeah.
You don't make a lot of money, but a good school will actually kind of help work out a deal to where you can kind of make it as like a side gig and still get the training. And on top of it, in my personal opinion, the only way to learn martial arts truly is to also start teaching it, because you'll be teaching white belts for like 3 months, but let me tell you, your front kick will be far better than anybody else who doesn't teach it. So it's really helpful to kind of to have that approach. So just
DQ says, "God damn it, I've been lied to." About what? Oh, dinner's 10 minutes away. Okay.
no. So just food for thought. All right, how's your torso coming? I feel like I'm just kind of noodling it at this point. I don't want to really detail it. I feel like I got pretty decent shapes.
I feel like my torso is basically done. I'm at the point where I'm like actually trying to build my base mesh.
Yeah, that's where I'm at
realizing
too.
that the topology on my face is not great, but
Come on.
I can fix that later.
Well, nice, dude. Yeah, got any videos of your classes? I do. I have stuff somewhere. I'll have to dig it out. After watching UFC and MMA with argue, I saw that's right. Yeah.
DQ says, "Don't say food in any context for the next 10 minutes."
Yeah, going back to a couple comments, Ryan said, "We'd love to trade info back and forth about our fitness and health lifestyles." Absolutely. I want to be more open about it. I'm going right now with a little bit more of a bodybuilder approach, but not trying to achieve bodybuilder status. No way whatsoever. If anything, I would like to get to a level of like what you would see in a fitness magazine, like a general guy who's happy with himself, looks good, but when he puts his clothes on, you can't really tell. Like, that's kind of my goal set. I just want to be happy with my body. I've never really been happy with certain aspects of it.
Citizen says volunteers work gives him 50% discount to their cost, so that's cool.
Nice.
Citizen teaches people how to swim.
Oh,
I think
cool.
mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, Citizen, but I think mostly it's like survival swimming. So like they have to learn how to swim with clothes on and things like that.
That's really useful. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's enough people who don't actually know how to do that.
Right.
So
I've never tried.
That's really, really cool. Kudos, man.
But yeah, he lives in a very water-filled country, so it makes
Well,
sense
that makes sense.
a fairly normal thing there.
That makes perfect sense, yeah. But yeah, but it's fun. I actually want to, right now my kids are learning, because I'm still connected with martial arts, as in I have one of my good friends is a master. He owns a studio in Bakersfield, and he Zooms his classes. So my kids actually attend his Zoom classes and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, when you ever get back to, hey, thank you so much, Lukecore. When he ever gets back into the city, because he's kind of he wanted to move back into my area. I said, let me know, and then, I'll come in and like help instruct a little bit. And of course, this was all pre-COVID, so who knows what his plans are now. But I told him if that's the plan still, I'd be down to be a part of it. So it's fun, It'd also just be a good outlet. Although no interest in competing.
He's actually closer to your part of the world.
Who's close to?
Oh, Citizen and DQ both live in closer to the same part of the world than Hawaii.
Oh, fun. Okay, let's go ahead and Z-remesh these legs real quick. Actually, let's dynamesh these legs together. Let's fix this and then Z-remesh it. Getting ready to start merging things.
Yeah, DQ guessed Hawaii, and Ryan said Hawaii isn't a country. He goes, shit is if you're as dumb as I am.
Okay, guys, so I'm ready to make the full mesh now. Does anybody have any torso anatomy questions? Or just questions in general about anatomy so far up to date? You guys want to see anything? Let Kamara and I know, because that would be And now I'm going to save this project as combined.
Citizen says mostly basic classes: A, basic survival in a pool; B, survival in open waters; C, survival in sea. If I recall correctly, I've taught both standard classes and special need classes, though the latter I've quit due to disagreement with the higher ups.
Yunar says Hawaii is a country.
Right.
What parts are safe to eat, Citizen Mech? That depends on your preference of white meat or dark meat.
It's like a question for Hannibal Lecter.
Just depends, brah. Just depends. All right. Look at my foot. Look at my foot. I'm gonna start bringing in. I have my.
Okay, I think. So I just merged all my parts, but I think I'm actually gonna leave the head separate for the moment because I don't like my edge flow around her eyes. So I'm gonna try to Z-remesh that again, fix it up a bit.
Yunar said Hawaii is a country? Did somebody say it was a country? Wait, did we say it was a country?
Okay, so I said, yeah, I mentioned the Citizen teaches people how to swim.
Right, yeah.
Because he lived in a water-filled country.
Right,
and
right.
DQ gets Hawaii, so.
Oh.
Okay. And then Ryan in my stream said Hawaii isn't a country. And I guess Ninar is also saying Hawaii is a country.
I think that's a sarcastic. Hawaii is a country? No, it is not.
I've never been to Hawaii.
I've never been to Hawaii either, but I've seen enough of it to know how beautiful it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also seen enough of it to know that would love to. It's one of those things. If it wasn't super, if it wasn't expensive, and B, if, as I understand it, there are parts of Hawaii that are not welcoming to tourists. And so if I were to go to Hawaii, I would want to I think I would actually want to live there for a while. I would actually not want to be a tourist. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to just go to go. I would want to.
Says field trip.
I would want to go to experience it, and that could be a while. Of course, that's just my MO and everything. I mean, I say the same thing about wanting to do go to the UK. I'd actually want to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, field trip. Absolutely. Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and actually mirror and weld. Oh, I can't do that? Okay, that's right. Well, I'm going to mirror and weld it anyway. It won't let me do it because of subdivisions. So, but I'm going to be Z-remeshing it anyway. So let's go solo. Let's Z-remesh it. See what we get. From my UFC fighters interviews. Wait, I might have missed something. My chat was wonky, so I had to refresh my chat. Restream chat sucks. Probably need to expand my reference sources. Okay, I'm Z-remeshing at the moment, and it is taking a while because this is a massive file, so we have to wait. In the meantime, let's see what Kamara's
Hi,
work.
Mario. Glad you're still here.
I'm Z-remeshing right now. That's taking a bit of time.
I have not actually merged all my stuff, I merged everything. I haven't dynameshed it together yet.
Hold on, Emily Geek said she was almost got arrested. Oh, when you went to Hawaii, you almost got arrested? What the hell?
What'd you do?
Culture study, we need to go. Yes, absolutely. Hawaii is a rough place to live in, as far as I've heard. Yeah, that's as far as I've heard too. Actually, I knew somebody who lived in Hawaii for a little bit. Back in 2002, my math teacher, who he went by Mr. Kim, really cool guy. Um, he was born in North Korea. Sorry, he was born in South Korea, and then he moved to Hawaii, and then he moved to Los Angeles. And he was my math teacher. And he essentially had family in Hawaii and in South Korea. But when I met his family in Hawaii and I said I would love to go to Hawaii, they just said, no, you don't. And I was like, okay. and they just said, it's no offense to you, you just won't blend in, you won't fit in. And I understood what they were saying. So in my experience, now this of course was back in 2000, so I mean I have no idea, and I don't judge or have any basis on it other than what I've been told. So, but I've always wanted to go and check it out. Always thought it would be kind of cool. So
of all the places I've wanted to travel, I've never been super interested in anywhere that I would consider more like tropical, like beachy and like typical Hawaii thoughts. Like that's not the sort of place that comes to mind for me when I say I want to travel. Like I want to go visit the UK or various European countries or Australia. Going to like Hawaii or the Bahamas or anywhere that people go on typical touristy vacations, I'm like, meh.
Yeah. No, I've never wanted to go to super touristy spots. Like again, I've always wanted to go to parts of UK. I always wanted to go to Ireland, Scotland, London.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to go to Germany. I always wanted to just kind of travel a little bit.
Yeah, Germany was fun. I want to go back.
But I definitely did not want. I definitely do not want to go onto the. Like I wouldn't want to just drop me off at a pub. Like
yeah,
drop me off at a
pub. I want to go
pub.
to Japan because anime.
Yeah.
See, I just want to go to Japan. Japan sounds awesome.
I've always
also,
just
my
wanted to go
wife
to
is
Japan.
from Japan.
Oh, cool. I've always wanted to go to Japan. Not just because of anime, but I've always liked their culture. And being in, again, studying martial arts and stuff like that, you get a window into the culture of the style that you're learning. Knowing a little bit of Shotokan karate was really eye-opening with some of the culture. Same with Taekwondo. So, again, yeah, you just...
I studied a little bit of Japanese when I was in college and really liked the language, really liked learning about the culture, all that. The one thing that actually made me well, two things that made me stop taking the Japanese classes. One was I was a little bit annoyed by all the people that were in there only so they could watch anime without subtitles. Like, I like anime, but I want to actually learn about the culture and I want to learn the language. I think it's a really cool language. And they're just in there because they're like, oh yeah, I want to be able to watch anime without subtitles. I want to see it in its original form. And I'm like, is that legit your only reason for being here?
For some people, yeah.
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 For about half of my class.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
The other reason I decided to stop taking it was because so I took 2 semesters. After first semester, I was doing fine. After the second semester, I ended up with a B in the class, but for like the second half of second semester, I was just progressively falling further and further behind.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was failing things by the end of second semester.
Oh, wow.
But I still got a B in the class. So I was like, maybe I should not take the third semester because I would need to do a whole bunch of catch up in between, and I know I'm not going to, and yeah.
Well, yeah, usually third semester of any language would be going in, and then that's like then it's just that language. I knew somebody who took 4 years of Spanish. By the third year of Spanish, he had said that you just walk in speaking Spanish. You do not even speak English at that point, and so you know if you're gonna keep up or not.
Yep.
Hello, I need to sleep.
We were in all Japanese, no English by the end of second semester, and that's about when I was like,
Yep. I mean,
Citizen says, also awesome culture, awesome looking food, way different from here. Everything you know about Japan I like, except for the workflow.
oh yeah, I've
Don't
heard
know what
the.
you mean by the...
I've seen a little bit of Japanese workflow. From being in
thanks for the follow,
aerospace.
Kamina.
It could be kind of, it could be intense for sure. Japan is so awesome, Slobiart. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've heard. Yep. Slobiart got to go to
Anything that has do with
Okinawa
office jobs.
for a few weeks for a couple of years, for work a couple of years ago. It's a beautiful place. Nice. I'm jealous. I really hate to study my own language. You really hate to study your own language? Well, I've been using the flashcards. I'm still very slow in picking it up, but I mean, like Ninar said too, watching anime without subtitles is a valid reason to learn Japanese. That's partly my reasoning behind it, but also too, I've always just wanted to know and learn the language, but I also struggle with language, so it's a catch-22 for me.
I pick languages up pretty easily, which is actually why I discovered that I kind of like coding. Because coding is like learning a language that you can see if you get it right. Well, theoretically, okay. You can always see if you get it right. You can't always see if you get it wrong. It's kind of scary when you don't get an error message, but things aren't working.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, coding is basically just learning a different language, one that a computer speaks.
Okay, so
DQ says you basically walk into the Weeb embassy and expect any different. Hakimaru shares some Japanese with us. I don't remember a lot of Japanese. I don't remember much at all, really, because Japanese is one that is so different from English that it's not like riding a bicycle. You don't pick it back up right away if you try to relearn it. Like, if you don't practice it consistently, it just disappears. Whereas German, I'm rusty, but I can pick it right back up if I were to actually put some effort in.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, Japanese, I can remember itadakimasu, which is essentially like bon appetit. I don't remember the literal translation, but it's just like, yes, let's eat, enjoy your food. And then I always got a kick out of dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu, because that basically means pleased to meet you. And it's long.
But you only say that the first time you meet somebody. You never say that again. Right? I know there's cultural things too that I've heard where it's like you only say some things a certain time. It'd be weird for you to say that again, you know? Because most people just say
to meet you in English more than once.
No, yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because when I was I was looking into this book, Japanese from Zero. They actually like cover some of the phrases of saying like, okay, you would say this, and while you may think this is something that would be on a regular basis, you say this only a couple times because of what it means or in the context in which it is done. But yeah, I don't know. Still figuring it out myself.
I know an artist who only wanted to draw anime. We got a hefty argument because he thought he could make a living only drawing anime. I don't think he would get into any art school due to his limited style. You can get into the art school, but the art school will try to break you of that anime style.
Spanish is too difficult. And it says, oh, I forget the Japanese class. Oh yeah, man, I want to visit the U.S., especially exploring Utah and Oregon. Martin, you want to come to California first and high-five me? That's what needs to happen. I want some sushi.
I'd say come to New Jersey, but there's nothing worth visiting in New Jersey except me, so...
Well, there you go.
New York.
Okay, I feel like my guy has, like, tiny hands.
100-hour work week is average there.
Yeah.
I guess I'm insane, and that doesn't faze me because I'm used to working 90-hour weeks.
I was gonna say no because you're American, and we work massive weeks here too.
Yeah.
Americans
but we also
is one
don't
of
actually get compensated for it.
Right. America is one of the few countries that works really like unnecessarily long hours without high benefits. It's very expected. Like, we're expected here to work when we're sick, at least before COVID. If you were sick, you better have been dying before not showing up to work.
Right. Yeah, it was ridiculous. When I used to work for the caricature company, basically, if you show up to work sick, or if you don't show up to work because you're sick, you risk getting written up or potentially even fired.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you go to a doctor, and then you have to spend all the time going to a doctor and wasting time doing that instead of just staying home and trying to feel better. If you show up to work and you're sick, chances are you'd get sent home. So it's just like, why?
Right. No, yeah, I mean, everybody has their thing, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any good art school I've seen or heard of breaks your current style to make you explore outside your realm. You can expand on your skills. Absolutely, yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's interesting. A good art school is going to do just like what you said, Mafafa. It should definitely break you out of the style that you're most comfortable in and have you explore. But I mean, if people are drawing anime to say that they want to do anime, it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
Anime is grueling hours, grueling time frames, and
usually you need to learn to draw realistic portions and realistic anatomy and such before you can get hired to do anime anyway.
Yep. But yeah, it's I mean, it's intense. Oops, okay. I loaded a subtool that didn't matter. But yeah, no,
unfortunately I cannot share from Filthy Frank's YouTube channel.
But whatchamacallit, yeah, if anybody's, I mean, but anime can be lucrative if you could do it right. I mean, I was told by a company that I interviewed for that saw my Vegeta and saw my Sailor Moon and saw my Todoroki, and they actually expressed that they thought I knew anime sculpting pretty well, and that anime sculpting is not necessarily popular, but it's really sought after. And so they had said if you continue to work on that, you can come back and come back and apply more. But they basically told me like I had good intuition when it comes to anime sculpting. And one of the things that they referenced was a super realistic body with an anime head. You can take the body as intense as you want and still slap an anime head on it, and it's good. Mm-hmm. But it's sculpting the anime head right that most people can't do. So it's very interesting on how anime does actually blend styles pretty well. But you have to keep a lot of things in mind, especially if you're moving to production.
Regis Lewis, I Need Sleep, says, I think this is in relation to Itidakimasu. It's thanks for the food. It has a lot of meanings, but not just for food. It can mean I will enjoy it. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been 10 years since I studied any Japanese. I don't remember much of any of it.
Atomic Studios says anime is like super simplified style. It's like a super simplified style that if your fundamentals are off, it can be seen easily. And I completely agree. It's like Mickey Mouse. Yep. Yeah. If you don't get it right, it's gonna be wrong. And that's the thing, everybody makes the mistake who attempts anime works. Everybody makes the mistake of creating eye sockets. There are no eye sockets in anime head. It is flat and painted on. And a lot of that is because the way an anime head goes through production, the eyes actually just get stamped. But it holds that look, that 2D look, and that's the goal. It holds the 2D look when you're looking at it straight on, but then once you turn it and start getting the 3D look, it also looks correct. And that's what can make it very difficult. So, yeah. There's all that. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and copy my head. And I need to go back.
messages and says, fair, I don't want to say he couldn't make a living, but it seems very unlikely. I hope art school broke him out of the habit, even if he got into it. I'm not in contact anymore.
Yeah,
At
hopefully
the
it
moment,
did.
very absent-minded.
Oh yeah, and I definitely don't mean that, it can't be done. I
Right.
just say it's extremely because I did the same thing when I was a kid. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just draw anime for a living. A white kid drawing anime. Woohoo, let's do it.
Right.
And my art teacher had said, while I applaud you for wanting to do that, let me just be the first to tell you that you have the biggest uphill battle ahead of you. Not that it's impossible, it's just given who you are, where you live, and how you draw, you're gonna struggle. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough.
We had, when I was in grad school, we had a lot of people that would come in and they would want to be a concept artist, but they would only know how to draw anime style because that's all they've ever done. And the teachers would try to break them of that habit. And they're like, but this is what I want to do. And they're like, cool, but I need you to learn realistic anatomy if you're going to be a concept artist.
Right.
And they're like, but this is what I want to do.
Well, yeah, some people just get stuck on that. This is what I want to do without actually knowing what they want to do. That's a big deal too,
Well, and that's one thing that was frustrating about the Academy of Art. They accept everyone because
Right.
they want money.
Oh yeah, the
what they
Academy
do
of Art.
is, yeah,
F that place.
San Francisco. They accept everyone, and then depending on what your portfolio looks like when you applied, they'll recommend different classes for you.
Mhm.
And maybe they're going to be recommending a grad student take a whole bunch of undergrad classes because you don't actually know any art yet. That's not ideal. Maybe you shouldn't be going to grad school for art if you're being told to take undergrad classes.
Yeah, yeah, that could be tough.
And yeah, it's
Anime
all a
headshot.
money grabbing thing. Like, they just want to get as many people in as they can, and then at midpoint, so halfway through your time at the school, they do an evaluation. They do a midpoint evaluation, and if you're doing well, they progress you on to the second half. If you're not, they tell you to go back and take more classes, meaning they can just stall people and keep taking money.
Yeah, which actually it happens a lot, and that's why I never joined an art school. I thought it was kind of oops,
It's
stretch
scammy.
that head. Yeah, it's a bit scammy. I'm gonna do
I only
real
went
quick.
because my dad was absolutely convinced that it was a good idea, because he knew someone whose daughter had gone there, and she went for something film related and then got hired at NBC. So he's like, oh, you should go. And so I went because my dad told me to.
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
don't regret it, but I think things would be very different if I hadn't.
I am doing something real quick for those who are interested. I'm actually scaling up my head and setting it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 head height. This is where I'm going to start checking the proportions of everything and make sure that it is correct. And so I'm going top of the head to his feet. I'm actually going to start making proportion changes at this point. So
I actually did a bunch of that on mine earlier. Now I'm going through, and so I Dynameshed and Z-remeshed, and because I Dynameshed and Z-remeshed, my connections are all a mess. So I'm going through and cleaning those up.
yeah. Yeah, anime head geometry is so weird. Sylvia Art says anime have planes for eyes. Yeah, there's a way to do it. There's definitely a way to do it, and also too, keeping in mind the anime style plays a huge factor as well. I've actually had a lot of people intrigued by my Vegeta head, wanting to know exactly how it is. But yeah, you got to look at it as like a true, really look at it as a true. It's flat, You know what I mean? Like your planes, like you're flat on the side and then it comes in. There's a great video that actually helped me learn anime heads. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, you got to focus in on getting the planes in there. Let me see
I was just
here.
noticing my toes have welded together a little bit because they were touching when I dynameshed. I'm not too worried about that because in general, I don't think I'm actually going to need toes for a base mesh. I was thinking about even cutting them off and giving her the superhero foot.
Yeah. Here, if you guys want to find that, if you guys want to find the how to do an anime head, that's how you do it. Where can we find the Vegeta head? The Vegeta is my model. I can show you. If you're a Patreon member of mine, then you can actually get the first model itself. But I'll show you the project I worked on. Just view my profile real quick.
Sorry, my neighborhood's loud, and my
That's
mic
fine.
is not a mic.
So this was the statue that I made, rendered in Blender. And then I'm doing an articulated Vegeta that is supposed to be getting tested, but it's been put on hold on the testing side, which I'm a little bummed at. So I'm gonna have to test it myself. But all the joints and stuff seem to work. So if you go to my ArtStation, you can actually check that out. And if you're a Patreon member, you can print that Vegeta model yourself. There's a link to my stuff. Damn, that is dope. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. It's one of my favorite projects. I really enjoy it. I'm going to be doing more anime style projects too, because I do want to get into more anime sculpting. So that's happening. You want class? Yeah, okay. So let me ask you guys a question here. So I'm planning on setting up a one-on-one intro to ZBrush course.
Ooh.
Where it gets you started in ZBrush, so you would obviously need to have ZBrush, but you could do either ZBrush Mini Core, ZBrush Core, or ZBrush. Either one. But also, too, I was considering creating some other core, like some one-on-ones where I kind of like go through how I do certain things. If you guys join my Discord, or just have any interest in anything like that, or know people who would be interested in that, please let me know. Because what I'm thinking about doing is kind of holding like a Zoom classroom where people can basically come in, sign up, keep it super affordable, but then it'll get people sculpting that day, get them started, get them moving forward, and then we can start doing more advanced stuff like, you know, anime sculpting, anatomy sculpting, etc., etc. So I kind of wanted to go more towards the teaching route as well. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, please let me know. Or if you know people who are interested in it, and then let me know in the Discord, or just let me know now, and then I can basically just start creating some sort of curriculum that it would be easy to follow, and something that would be geared towards what people want, not what's just out there on the web, because there's so much stuff out there. I don't want to flood it with bullshit. I want to give you guys what you're looking for. So if that makes any sense. If that makes sense, let me know. All right. Delete's hidden. I would love it. Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah. I still owe you a Japanese class. That's true, yeah. Let's see. There is a great book on anime sculpting, but it is in Japanese. It is, yeah. Yes. I think SK created that book. The video I sent also references some of those stuff too. So.
I'm going to put the toes off like I was just talking about. 'Cause
Nice.
I don't need them for what I'm doing. And they're really just making things more difficult right now.
Yeah. Now it's about like bringing everything together and trying to merge it together as best as you can. I feel like my head's a little bit too big, so probably have to scale that down a little bit. Also, too, human necks are a little bit longer than we think, but I don't want to give them a giraffe neck. Is it just right? I mean, hey, that's where it really does get interesting when you're character designing. Yeah, I mean, you have once you get your forms locked in, start playing with them. No,
You know what?
nothing wrong with
I
that.
just realized I'm trying to keep groups while I'm Z-remeshing, and that's entirely not necessary because I can just regroup things when I'm done.
Right, exactly.
I'm making life difficult for myself.
Yeah.
Alright, let's undo that.
I also find at this point I need to turn around and blend it all together and then make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our gizmo, select everything, and then Control F will put everything in it in a folder, say yes, and name this base mesh. And now everything that's there is within, so now I can go ahead and actually merge this whole folder together so I have a backup. And now it's all here. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply Dynamesh to it, which will be good. Yeah, let's see if that works. Let's keep it low. Let's keep it about 1 million. And start manipulating.
Oh yeah, one proportion thing that I always find really interesting for some reason, as far as like the human body goes. Proper, like ideal human proportions, your forearm should be the same length as your foot. And I don't know why that's like my favorite proportion, but it's just interesting to me.
That is supposed to be, yeah. But you know what's funny about that is I know somebody who's had tiny feet. My stepdad was 6'2", and he had a size 9 foot.
I'm actually not sure. Yep, mine matches. I hadn't checked mine in a long time.
Hey,
I'm
that
small. I have size 7 feet. Women's size 7. It's
women's
like men's
7.
size 5.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. Yeah, that's pretty small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a small person.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
I actually stopped growing when I was 9, and having been both tall, like relative to other people my age anyway,
Oh,
having been both tall and short, I prefer short.
yeah, interesting. I've only been tall. I don't know what it's like to be anything but tall. The only annoying thing about being tall, in my opinion, is when somebody looks at you, they don't know you, but they're like, "Can you get that for me?"
Yeah.
And it's like,
I always
"Hey."
see all the memes that are like, as a tall person, it is my duty to help short people reach things, but I cannot offer, they must ask.
Right, yeah. But it happens a lot, It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Although I
See,
typically
I'm the one
don't mind
I'll
it.
just climb on store shelves, I don't care. I'm just like, I don't see anybody nearby, I'm just gonna climb, don't watch me.
There you go, yeah. Let's see, but draft rock exactly. How tall are you? I'm 6'3". Yeah. Ryan's got an inch on me.
I'm 5'3", actually 5'2.5".
Short is
You can tell I'm
preferable
short
for
because I know
beds,
the half inches.
aeroplanes.
Citizen says, I don't know what size 7 means. Maybe it's so small I can't even comprehend it. Insert lots of small people jokes. Insert lots of tall people jokes.
Also, too, shoe sizes in general vary depending on what country you're in.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
don't know
U.S.
what mine is in European sizes anymore. I used to know.
Well, can't you just look in the shoe? Usually the shoe, at least the
I'm
shoe
not
that I
wearing
buy.
shoes.
Wow.
Hold on, let's see.
Grab a pair of shoes.
European 38, UK 5, 24 centimeters.
There you go. Now you know. Yeah, hey, tall
Citizen
people.
Citizen says he's 6'1".
Oh, well, there you go. 6'1", yeah, pretty tall. Yeah, UK size is like a size smaller US. Oh, okay. Trains are the way to go for tall people. Oh, yes, I've been on trains and absolutely agree with that sentence. Yep. Yeah, I like being helpful too. It's just funny, like, it's usually the people's go-to when they first meet you and they realize you're tall. Like, hey, you know. Although it's funny, it's I mainly get that experience in grocery stores.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has to mostly be grocery stores because that's the only time I ever consider looking for a tall person. I never actually do because I'm like, I'll look around and be like, is there anyone in the aisle? If there's someone in the aisle, whether they're tall or not, I'm usually like, I'll just stand here looking at the thing.
Right.
And hopefully they won't offer because I just want them to go away so I can climb on the shelf without them seeing me.
It's because you're a strong, independent woman.
Sometimes I'll just do it while they're watching, but like if it's a tall person, I won't do it while they're there because I don't want them to come offer. But like,
do you
if there's
need me to get
another
that?
short person in the aisle, I'll just look at them and be like, all right, I got this, and just climb up.
Just don't want you getting hurt, you know? Okay.
I actually, when I was little, I scared the crap out of my mom on a regular basis because I learned how to climb before I learned how to walk, and I climbed everywhere I needed to go. And by everywhere, I mean up the outside of the banister on the staircase because it was fun. And I would get to the top where the stairs continued, but the wall came down to the edge of the banister, and I would just like hop up and down and scream and cry because I couldn't go any further. I was like 2 years old.
I would say I'm surprised, but I don't know. This just sounds like you. from what I know of you, this just sounds like
Right.
you.
I
Yep.
also, my brother had a basketball hoop out front. Like it was one that was actually cemented into the ground and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I used to I would climb that. I would just sit on top of the net.
Hmm. That's funny. Let's see. Trains take a
Ironically, I'm
long
afraid of
time to
falling.
get anywhere, but the experience is so worth it. You can sit back and work on a laptop. You can get up and move around, exploring. I haven't been on a train. The last time I was on a train was actually in 10th grade. My grandma at the time lived in San Diego, and the night before, being a Sunday, me and my mom went down to help my grandma clean out some of her very cluttered rooms, and my mom was insistent that I went to school the next day. So she put me on a train, and I got on a train, and then I got off in the Burbank area, and then took my skateboard and skated to school. That was a very interesting day, to say the least. But yeah. Although I thought it was funny that my mom was super insistent that I still go to school, even though we are like, your grandma needs help. It's not like I was
The short person in the aisle for my tiki.
I love trains, but every time I've caught one to Seattle, it was so delayed. Oh yeah, well, nothing works right, so you know.
Apparently Citizen wants to climb something now, and also hello Daha, how are you?
Well, climbing stuff
And
is
Andrea,
cool.
hello.
So, you know.
Yeah, I love climbing things, but I'm not afraid of heights, I'm afraid of falling. So, I haven't done nearly as much. What? I just got a raid from Nimlot. Hello, how are you?
Oh, cool.
That is
Hello,
by far the
Nimlot.
biggest raid I've ever had. Welcome in. I am multi-streaming with IR Sculpts. Here's our
Hello,
multi-stream link.
Nimlot. Hello, Raiders.
We've been doing anatomy studies. We did like individual body parts each day last week, and now we're putting them together. So I'm calling it my Build-A-Figure.
Build-A-Figure. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at these things. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we were talking about climbing things. And yeah, I like climbing things, but I'm afraid of falling.
Oh boy. Emmy says, I'd have to say I get the train the first time in the States when in LA, and it was an interesting experience. I had a guy sit opposite me and talk to me. He had a paper bag of beers and offered me one. It sounds like you were in LA for sure. He started talking about how he used to work in movies and how he loved Kate Middleton. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Sounds like you were right in LA. Yeah. Alright, I'm at the point where I think I'm going to want to Z-remesh this and then officially kind of split it up and make it a base. So I'm going to duplicate that and Z-remesh. Okay.
That's actually interesting. So
Hey,
Nimlot
Lexter.
just told me not to work
Thank you
without
for the follow.
perspective. And actually, when I'm building a character, organic character, I usually always have perspective on. And I kind of forgot today because I was working on my beetle. But my beetle, because it's hard surface and mech-like, and I'm working from a concept that I had in the scene, I had it off. But also, thank you for the reminder. And thank you everyone for the follows. Let me see who we got here.
When you turn perspective on, I got a question about that, because perspective is camera based in ZBrush, and it
Yeah.
is normally set at 50mm, and the photographer in me screams at that 50mm. Is there a benefit to setting it to something a little bit more standard, like 85mm, which would be typically ideal for looking at a head, in my opinion? But I have never really worked in perspective, so I'm kind of curious on your perspective on that. Hey, Lexter.
I don't know. I
Lopez, thank you
adjust
so
the
much.
camera. I adjust the camera depending on who I'm going to be showing it to, I guess. Because like I have photographer friends that if they look at it, they're like, "What's up with that camera?"
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah, 80, 85. Exactly.
Like McMinkster, Nimla, Orcas, and Us Gems, USS Gems. Thank you all for the follows.
Yeah.
Oh, sing mode. Apparently I'm singing everything for a bit. All right, that's gonna be weird because I haven't done that before.
Have fun.
Right. Does this mean I'm just gonna be quiet for a bit? It might.
Okay. Yeah, if I'm exporting it, it would be easier if you match the camera. Yeah, if your size is correct, you can match your reference photos. Correct, yeah. When I've done a few likeness studies, and I've always matched the camera to match the reference I've been using. Yeah.
To go for now. Have a good stream. Thank you again for the raid. Have a good one, Nimlot.
See you, Nimlot. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm
Z-remesh
not
this.
doing a very good job of singing.
Ooh, my favorite song is one question about woman anatomy. How do you do the breast? Can you give some tips? Yes, absolutely. So let me Z-remesh this real quick. Ideally you want to look at breast tissue as teardrops, and you want to make sure that you follow the anatomy as close as possible. So understanding how the pectoral muscles connect, understanding that the pec starts at the breastplate and connects down into the humerus. Thank you, Matt, for the follow. That's super important. So when you take a look at something like, if you go into ZBrush, Ryan Kingsley, female anatomy model, if we come in here, what you want to remember is how the breast tissue is actually sitting. So it's actually sitting kind of oblong and kind of attached into the shape. So if we were to make my male character a female, for example, I would take a sphere. Usually I use like IMM primitives, and I would draw out a sphere. And then from there, I would actually elongate it a little bit, and then start bringing this in and matching kind of where the tissue would start from, and then manipulating it from there. So kind of start pressing this in a little bit, because too, what you want to remember from the side is that the chest kind of swoops out a little bit, and there's gravity underneath. And where a lot of people get the breast wrong is that the breast actually sits on the rib cage. It's not just floating out in space. So you want to kind of move that so that there's tissue that is sitting on the rib cage. And then, of course, too, nipples do not point straight out. They point at an angle. In fact, a good way to, I'm not going to do nipples, but a good way to set yourself up for success is most people's nipples line up to their earlobes. It's a straight line from one shot to another. So literally draw a line from your ear down, and then you kind of want to pull that out a little bit, so be more at an angle. And then again, you want to kind of tuck that in a bit.
I need to get a timer. I already lost track of how much time that was. It's supposed to be 5 minutes, I think.
So
But,
that's how basically
I'm
you
not
end up
thinking.
starting it. But yeah, there's weight, there's gravity to it. So, and then of course it kind of gets pressed in there. And then when you blend it together, do note that the breast is sitting on top of the pec. So it's going to follow, the inserts are going to follow as well. So this is kind of a very rough way of doing it, but kind of gives you an idea of where to start. And then blend that together, and know that on a lot of women, you will see the pec muscle too. But keeping that kind of oval, kind of egg shaped, and moving that over a little bit, smoothing it out, bringing it down, like it's all going to help connect. So that's how I would approach it.
Citizen says, gotta go. Gonna play some Valheim. Ooh, nice.
Yep, they're not
Bought the
floaty
game
balloons.
from him yesterday because he was staring at it for about an hour in the Steam store. Nice. I love Valheim. And also, hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate.
Yep. Yep. And exactly when you start getting clothing involved, specifically the bra, you can have a lot of fun with the different shapes. In fact, if we pull up, here, let's save this real quick. I'll pull up an example real quick. I actually did Chun-Li versus Vega statue, which will really showcase how much fun you can have with the action and of course the weight of it. So let's go into my folder. Let's go to my work. Let's go into Chun-Li versus Vega. 3D print. We'll just pull up the decimated model real quick. Okay. Let's go solo for a second. So we take a look at just her torso here. So the line of sight is super important to remember. She's actually attacking and she's at an angle. So if we come in here and just isolate the chest area, so you could see how you could still see the top of her chest. You can still see the weight of her breast, but then you can also see too how the bra is still giving her lift and giving her some sort of weight added to it. And then because she's jumping, I actually exacerbated how much they're standing up because of the way gravity is. She's lifted, so she's now falling, and now the weight of the breast is going to pump up. And so you can have a lot of weight guide here. So
one thing I've noticed a lot of people do, like one mistake I see a lot of people make when they're making breasts is, I don't know if everybody's watching my screen or not, but so
right
if
here,
I,
let me bring you over onto my side.
yeah, I do something like this.
Hold on.
It's
Here, I want. Oh, you guys, Kamara's talking. So here we go.
yeah.
Let's see if we can see you real quick. Yep, see you.
A lot of people, it's gonna be delayed if you're watching it on his screen, but anyway, so a lot of people do this thing where it's almost like a teardrop, and it's like the breast is only connected up here or something, and it's like, this is not how boobs look.
No.
I've also seen people do a lot of, let me undo, they might do it where it's more like a sphere. It's got like this weird cleavage line on top.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen either. It's the way I think about it is it's almost like it's just an enlarged pec, like it's just rounded and it's that whole pec shape that got bigger in the front, but then gravity pulls it down and out to the side a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's weight and it definitely goes out to the side. Kind of almost at like I exaggerate mine in the beginning at like a 45-degree angle away from the pec, and then I dial it in for appeal. So, but I always try to showcase the the woman's chest and then the breast, as if they're two separate entities. Because, like you said,
Right.
the understanding of like it's almost it is an enlarged pec at that point. You know, if you've seen men with man boobs, you know, just look at a bodybuilder with the way his pecs engorge and the way they flare out. It's not much different, except for you have to remember that breast is literally fatty tissue with nerve endings and then milk ducts so that they could feed their young. So there's just a lot of weight there, and it's not, the breast isn't a muscle, it's all fat tissue. And if you think of fat tissue, it's just soft and squishy, so it's going to move easier than muscle will.
Matt K3 says, I recommend anatomy study and start with A cup and work your way up. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I never understood talking about gravity and realistic properties to just avoid them and have the shirt strap and other clothing follow the skin like a winding road. Well, I mean, the idea too, I work in statues, so my stuff gets seen and you have to convey motion. So kind of understanding and getting the feel of what exactly is happening when gravity is at play will definitely help you convey that much a lot easier than anything else. Again, you know, in animation, you want things to be as neutral as possible. So, you know, you probably will sculpt something that's a little bit more floaty and a little bit more standoffish, because then they can add the riggers can go in and add the proper weights and bones that they need to manipulate. Especially, you know, if there's going to be a lot of jiggle action, they're going to have to animate that. So they'll want a neutral position. But for me, when I sculpt and statue work, I need to showcase motion with it standing still. So understanding how something would be affected with gravity, with movement, is more important than anything else. Yeah, it does depend on the output of the thing, absolutely. Gotta push it down.
I think, anatomy studies, it's important to know how the body should be just in a neutral position where, you know, breasts are going to be affected by gravity if the body is just neutral.
Right. Let's back this up a little bit.
Even if you're making something for games or animation or whatever, doing an anatomy study and understanding how the body would look if it was a real human body standing in front of you is super helpful.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yep. But always keep in mind the end result. Always keep in mind what it is you're trying to achieve at the end of the day. You know, if you're working in animation or games, you know, definitely check out where what it is that is being asked of you, and then yeah, just go from there. My internet kind of took a weird little dip right now.
Oh, thanks for the follow.
Yeah.
Super John it? Super John it?
Okay, let's go ahead and correct a few things real quick.
I apologize.
All right, so I kind of made my base mesh. I'm not going to detail it too much because there's no need to do that. Yeah, not too bad. Kind of really simplified it a bit, but got some bony landmarks in there. I think all I'm gonna do is cut some UVs. Kind of just like making sure nothing else got crushed. Maybe adjust a few things. Yeah. More people should be in the stream, sharing on Facebook now. I know I'm learning from you. Awesome, thank you so much. Well, like I was saying earlier, guys, I'm considering doing an anatomy class and a ZBrush intro class. So if you guys are interested in that stuff, make sure to follow me on my socials, and I'll be coming up with something that will be more like a Zoom classroom setting, and I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm also going to be...
Hey man, I don't think I actually introduced myself. Hello, I'm Kimara, or people call me Kim. I am a 3D character artist for video games. I'm first year of employment, so I'm still very much learning.
Yeah.
working on an anatomy study. So we actually built these. I think I said earlier we built these piece by piece and then stuck them all together. So if my proportions look weird, that's why. Sort of tweaking it and making things a little more proportional here and there, and like just kind of jumping around between fixing proportions and like.
Oh, I think my Stream Raiders is ready. I totally like dropped the ball on that this time. Let me switch that over. For those of you who don't know, I do Stream Raiders too from time to time on this stream. There we go. Let's hit that up. So, well, I'm glad you guys really like this because this has actually been a lot of fun, and I think as a whole, I kind of want to just go over anatomy at least once a month. Because I think a lot of people can benefit from that. A and B, just keep practicing. I'm going to benefit from that, you know? So, all right. That's going to be the last stream. Slobby Art. There you go. Oh, we got a boss. All right, let's do the boss. Yeah, let's do the boss. You got to do the boss. All right, we'll do the boss, and then that'll be it on that part. I'm just going to be messing with proportions and forms real quick. But if anybody has any anatomy questions, please feel free to ask. Because Kamara and I can answer it. No problem. Actually, doing this, you know what I want to do? I actually want to do... I want to do another likeness study. And I think I want to, like, sculpt, like, Arnold or something like that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can't do an Arnold voice. I shouldn't try.
Don't worry. Did you see me rushing to attempt it?
Vertex does a pretty good one.
Yeah. I held Trump's impression for a while, but I don't think that was that difficult.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was really Trevor Noah's impression of. So I was impersonating Trevor Noah impersonating Trump. Yeah, that's more like it.
Nice. I like his impression of Trump because it's like it has that South African accent coming through. It's great.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to be just refining the body, putting in some of those bony landmarks that are going to stand out. But I'm not going to be detailing this too much. Because with base meshes, you don't want the base mesh to guide your art decisions, but you definitely do want to keep in mind that you want the forms and proportions to be there as well as it can be. So when you're creating a base
has
mesh,
more detail in it than I would usually have for a base mesh.
yeah. So, but it's okay to have one that's also just a little bit of has a little bit of those indications, because you can always smooth it out too. Anatomy of various species would be helpful. Ooh, anatomy of various species. Okay,
that'd be fun.
That's a great idea. Arnie. Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Zoology, I could potentially help with some of that.
Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk. Actually, I will say this. Unless you're going for, even with going for realism, I think animal studies might be a little bit easier than human studies.
They very much are.
They are? Okay.
They are. Because as we were talking about with the difference between which body parts might be hardest for people, with animals, it's like the average person doesn't know what exactly a specific dog breed is supposed to look like, or like that horse, it doesn't look like that horse, whereas like if you're sculpting a person, does it look like that person?
Right.
Like we all know what I don't know, Tom Cruise looks like, or like if you're doing
I do. I've retouched his face.
Or if you're doing a self-portrait, like your face is right there, people can see it. Whereas if you're sculpting a horse, most people are pretty okay with it being a horse. the only people that are going to notice if anything's off are people that spend a lot of time around horses.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
it's not necessarily easier to, like, if you're trying to do, I guess, a likeness of a horse, it might be harder than doing a likeness of a human, but that's just because people don't spend as much time with horses. If you're doing a horse, you can get away with it a lot more than doing a human.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Ryan says, so what if you did like a horse next? And then combined it with a centaur, exploring how the anatomy should be in something not real. Oh, yeah, that's actually great.
I love doing that kind of thing.
When the thing I pulled away from my one and only creature study is that things have to make sense. So always reference the thing that would make the most sense in reality, so people's heads can wrap around it. In my Pixo streams, I'm doing a Olifist, which is essentially a sea dragon. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know, Emmy, am I saying that right? In Irish folklore, it's basically a sea dragon. It's a really cool one, and there are so many different ways that it's been showcased before. But with that sea dragon, there are certain things like the way a crocodile's jaw works, the way a shark's mouth opens and closes, the way an eel bends. Those are all things I referenced in order to get the shapes that I needed so that it looks correct, even though it's not a real creature. So yeah, I would definitely want to cover a lot of that. Definitely had to subscribe, but ask, have you tried Nomad Sculpt on Android? It's like ZBrush for Android devices. Yes, I have. Actually, I own Nomad. I have it on my iPhone. I play with it from time to time. It's best $15 I ever spent. And it's constantly being updated, and I love it. I just don't sculpt on my my mobile phones or devices that often. I'm usually in ZBrush most of the time, but yeah. I've bought full ZBrush software and Nomad Sculpt, best money I ever spent. Yep, hands down, yeah. Absolutely, Chris. I agree. Yeah, it's cool. Okay.
Oh yeah, DQ, very much tense pair of cheeks. I'm using a specific reference, and she's definitely clenching. I would show you, but I don't want to get a movie ban.
No baddies! Yeah. Yeah, we got to be careful, guys. As artists, we've learned we have to be careful on Twitch because, unfortunately, unless...
Living Vertex got a 3-day suspension for underboob.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like unless all of a sudden I was making Twitch money, they're gonna shut me down, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going to be my next big project? Good question. I don't know. I'm breaking up the Mortal Kombat sculpts for those of you who are new here and want to see what I'm working on. Because right now I have a Patreon, so if you guys would like to see my Patreon, please jump over there. It's where I release some of my sculpts. It's just a way you guys could support me. And if you want to print some of the stuff like the Vega versus Chun-Li, etc., etc. Let me pull up the Mortal Kombat one, so you guys can see that. I don't know. I definitely...
Have you printed anything yet?
I'm sorry, what?
Hello. Oh, I was asking DQ if he's printed anything yet. You got a printer.
Oh, nice. I am currently... Let me see here. Let me pull this up real quick. So I'm currently slicing this up as soon as it loads. It's actually a big file. For Patreon for next month. Because I release about one high-detailed statue a month on Patreon. But anybody who joins, you get access to a library. And so here's what I currently I'm going to be slicing up in the next week. So you guys can see... You can see what I've been working on.
I'm doing well, Norden. How are you? Also, I'm just noticing all the places that I've merged my various body parts together. Everything's a little like, so I'm going through and cleaning up my connections right now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to clean all that up. Finish
All
him.
of a sudden I was like, why is her leg an S curve? That's not normal.
Yeah, so Matt, and this will be 1/8 scale for Sub-Zero, just so you guys want to know what the size is. It's going to be a nice size. Usually a 1/8 scale, you can print the full character in any standard resin printer. So I try to make it as simple as possible, although I will be honest, if you guys want to see what this looks like full screen, let me plot this over real quick. This was 32 pieces, resin and FDM mix with a lithophane style thingy. So this is and the way it connects too is pretty cool. Everything else is glued except for that part. So this is what was last put on my Patreon, and I love it. Yeah, all the main body parts were printed in resin, and then the base was printed in FDM. It's a big boy, so if you have a big printer. And Chun-Li is actually weight controlled, so she's hollow, so I do not recommend downscaling. It will fail if you do that. Okay. Alright, let me clean this up a little bit more. Also, too, I split this up to kind of get some basic UVs done. If anybody, if I wanted to kind of take this into Marmoset or something like that. But let's clean them up the rest of the way. Add a little bit of detail. But, yeah, alright. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be focusing on creating that Intro to ZBrush course. That'll be like a classroom. So I'll just be covering the basics, and then I'll look into some anatomy study stuff too. And then let's do some animal stuff too, Kamara.
Yeah.
Probably do it in a few weeks though. Take a break. Take a study break.
Say, I need a little time to catch up on my mentorship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the follow. Is it? I'm gonna guess Jinja? Or is it Ginja? I don't know. I'm so bad at trying to figure out how people's names are pronounced.
Oh yeah, I butcher names all the time, and I feel really bad when I do. I just apologize and hope they don't unfollow. I'm sorry.
Sweet. I mean, I could just not say the names as people come in, but then if they chat, then I'm like, oh god, what's your name?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Sometimes sometimes I've just like stared at a name and read what they said without reading their name until I've figured out a good way to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Or I just go for it and say, okay, I'm gonna try this. It can be hard sometimes. Especially since some people troll with their names on Twitch. I've met a few of those.
Right.
And while I appreciate it, sometimes it's like, damn it. You got me.
I mean, some people troll with their kids' real names, like, it's spelled like XYQ2RA. It's pronounced Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe after class I could do a follow-up to bring their works into games. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'll do.
I've always been super interested in creature design and trying to figure out like realistic creature designs that make sense evolutionarily, and like why would this animal have developed this? How would it have developed? And that kind of informs how the anatomy would fit together.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I figured it was probably Jinja, because I was like, Ginger? But the fact that there are two eyes in there, I wasn't 100% sure.
Well, all I know is that if anybody is trying to sculpt anything, and I mean anything, when you go to do your reference, just type in that thing like dragon, and then follow it up with anatomy. You'll be surprised what is already on the web. And there is somebody out there. I have charts of dragon anatomy when I made my started making the Olifist. And I was really surprised and happy that there was so much dragon anatomy studies already done that I didn't have to do that.
I know someone who, I think she just started streaming too, actually, that she just did an écrochet of a tiger, and now she's doing an écrochet of a dragon, and I can't wait to see how that turns out. The skeleton already looks badass.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. The Kana, she had done a dragon skeleton, which is really cool. It's actually a model you can get from her that she's released.
Is that the one she was showing off the print of the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really cool.
Yeah, it looked really good. I wonder how some names are even approved on Twitch. I saw a user with the name, oh god, Anus Thrust. It was so bad. I could really ban him for his name. I had to ask him to change it. Yeah, you couldn't really ban him for his name. Yeah.
That's like Arrested Development, the license plate that was supposed to be a new start.
Oh, yeah.
Junior and Ganja as Ginger. Nice.
Yep. Okay. Not to sound crazy or anything, question, do you both take into mind what gender or genitalia your models will have? As I've noticed that some of these three AAA games include full nudity models now with like Cyberpunk 2077. I do actually, but I don't usually do full genitalia unless it is actually requested or has a purpose. But what I will end up doing is okay, so don't ban me, Twitch. So what I do for males is I will actually kind of put this little, I'll just kind of pull it the where the genitalia would be down just slightly so that it casts almost like a ball shadow between his legs. Right? For a woman, I'll back this up for a second. I'll actually smooth the area down and I'll actually go ahead and make a crease down the middle and then blend it just a little bit and then kind of fiddle with this area. And women it kind of pulls in a little bit, so I will make sure that I actually pull it in and back a little bit, smooth that area down, and then make sure I get the proper I forget the correct term for this little belly, but there's like women have like this little, it like the belly goes in and it pooches out a little bit. Yeah, I didn't want to, sounds, so it kind of flares up a little bit, and then it goes straight back.
There's a lot less PC name for it that I've heard a lot recently, but
yeah. So that's generally what I'll do. But since this is a male character, yeah, I'll definitely just give some sort of like indication from the backside that there is a male genitalia of sorts. But to keep it PC, I keep it Kendall-ish.
Yeah. So far, every character I've made has been fully clothed and don't have like character customization or anything, so I haven't sculpted like anatomically correct genitalia on anybody.
Right.
But yeah, I do try to give it like a little more mass there if it's a man.
Yeah.
Because the shape of the anatomy underneath informs the way the clothing is going to lay on top of it.
Absolutely. And also too,
and then I have sculpted anatomically correct genitalia on creatures.
Okay, that makes sense. Nice. For what I try to achieve with my female characters is I will try to achieve the quote thigh gap look. And the way I'll generally do that, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab the legs here for a second. The way I generally do that is I'll make sure that when I draw the main lower part of the torso, I'll actually scoop that back and then create the butt shape, and then I'll come around. And then when I do the legs, I'll make sure that it kind of scoops a little bit more like this, giving the inner thigh a little bit more meaty tissue. And I'll purposely place that thigh gap in there. Something like that real quick. So that way I know that's gonna read female. So little tricks like that could be helpful. But off stream, there's I would say practice sculpting genitalia as well, because you'll never know when somebody asks you to do it. And actually, when I first took my very first ZBrush class with this company called Studio Arts, just like the start, like 4 years ago, little like 3.5 years ago. Anyway, one of the guys who I met, who's ended up being a pretty good friend of mine, and I ended up working for his business for a little bit. He was in the adult industry making toys. And he was there because his company said, we're no longer doing cast and molds of male genitalia. We are going to just refer to 3D modeling and fixing scans. So they're just going to scan the parts and then send those scans over to the company. And then they're going to fix them and get them ready for mass production. So that is a thing that happens. And if you know what it is correctly and how it should look, then you'll actually be able to, well, if you really want to work in the industry, I guess, but you'll be able to at least have a better understanding of how it should be. So, but I met a guy who does that for a living, so, and it's actually pretty interesting. Thanks, a legitimate question and a straight to the point answer. Yeah, this actually helps a lot. I really bought the software for home use, but your answer helps put things in perspective. Hey, no problem. Glad I can help. I had a friend who made custom toys, Monster Bits. If you get my drift, I do.
Jinja just asked, do you know any good tutorials or courses for hand-painted characters? Off the top of my head, I believe Stylized Station on YouTube had a really long one that was a good one. It was like 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
I was just Googling to find it, but
I would say too.
Flip Normals has good ones too.
Well, is it hand painting or is it like software painting? Did she?
My guess is software painting.
Oh, if they're looking, if they're going for like actual like hand painting, like painting miniatures, then there's a few streamers who do a great job in showcasing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I've been watching Two Dwarfs One Brush and Walter's Workshop for a while for mini painting.
Yeah, brush on.
Two Dwarfs One Brush is more chat and hang out while he paints, but
anyway. Brush is on fire.
Brush for Hire.
Oh, Brush for Hire, yeah. I say fire, yeah. Well, his shit's on fire. He's legit. I love his stuff.
A whole army of dinosaurs in like 5 minutes. I was like, what just happened?
Well, yeah, he mass produces and paints really well. I gotta get him to paint one of my sculptures.
For digital, okay. So yeah, on YouTube, there's Stylized Station had one that was like 4.5 hours long. I can't remember. Also had one that was a little shorter, and it was like an intro to it for like Blizzard style hand painting.
Yeah.
And then I think Flip Normals had some good ones too.
That's good.
I'm also looking for, I did some Googling right now. My old texture and light instructor used to work for Blizzard, and he has some videos up on YouTube.
Nice.
He was, oh, here we go. Oh man. I just found one of his old videos from like 9 years ago, and Lucentai, who I've raided before, is in the video.
Maniac is teaming up with Pixelogic right now. Really? Miniac. I said Maniac. Miniac is teaming up with Pixelogic right now. That's cool.
So this video I'm linking right now is it's more for like hand painted textures in general, not specifically characters, but a lot of the techniques can be transferred.
Oh, I love watching traditional sculptors. Actually, a lot of the techniques that I use in ZBrush, I've pulled from traditional sculptors a little bit, with like the way they've stacked forms and how they cut in certain muscle insertions. I just use different you know, it's actually a lot of fun. Also, too, guys, when you're doing anatomy, one other tip I wanted to talk about real quick before we go, because we're going to be dialing this up soon, is really make sure that the bone placement of the hips is correct, because women have wider hips, and so their hip bones are in a different place. So if you can get an Ecrochet model, or you want to check things, pull up an Ecrochet model that you can have. The Ryan Kingsley one is a female Ecrochet model, so the skeletal structure is for women, and that is very specific. But what I'm going to be doing right now is actually, I have a Raphael Grassetti one when I took his course, and his Ecrochet is male. And by doing so, what I could do is actually kind of take certain things like this leg bone here. So I could take this hip bone. Okay, let's actually hit auto groups real quick.
Poly painted.
Let's do auto groups. Yeah, he poly painted his. It looks really good. Okay, great. And then from here, I can actually isolate where a lot of the ligaments are and some of the bones as well.
Oh, and Jinja and anybody else who watches that YouTube video I linked, I haven't watched that specific video, so I don't know exactly what he covers, but he's a very good instructor, and he worked at Blizzard doing hand-painted textures for over a decade. He's one of the people that developed the hand-painted style there, so it's really good to learn from.
And so what we're going to do is actually take this hip. Let's bring this down. And notice I grabbed the... I did grab the... I think that's... I don't know what the leg muscles are called, but fibia.
the fibia connector muscle.
Right. Yeah. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scale this to match where I'm at.
Hi, Brandy.
It's really important to get the proper placement of things. And so you can see here, just based on where this is at, that I'm just off just a little bit, but the initial indication of my hip bone is pretty correct. So I can then go ahead and pull these into the right area and get that placement. And that will really distinguish between male and female. I've seen some models before where the hip bone is in the wrong place and it just throws the whole model off. So you really want to make sure that if nothing else, that your hip bone placement is correct.
Yeah.
You can get away with a female skull on a male body because most people won't catch that. It's very, very subtle. But right here, men usually get this. Yeah, men usually get that V taper, not just from their lats to their abs, but they get that V cut right where they're right at the start at their navel region. So you almost want to kind of put that in there, and that will help really lock in a male's body over a female's body. So if you can get a male Ecrochet, do it, and then the female Ecrochet within ZBrush should help out a lot too. And then you can just go ahead and delete that part when you're done. Let's see. Do you take your sculpts export models to PSD for digital painting? Actually, I poly paint within ZBrush typically, but sometimes I've done it a few times, bringing it into Photoshop, but rarely. So my water washable resin is giving me the fails. Not happy.
No.
I just don't like my flex plate. Yeah. Water, I told you, Emmy, yeah, water washable resin just... I know people who get it to work, and they're usually miniatures, and I don't know. Some of it is frustrating, that is for sure. I'm not an expert on it, but it has been the most frustrating and annoying resin I've ever worked with.
Meanwhile, everyone's telling me that's what I should use when I get my printer, because less fumes. And I'm like, but but everyone hates it.
I mean, when it works, right?
Yeah.
I've only had I've only had failures when it comes to larger prints when it hollowed out because it expands even after curing, and the more you cure it, the more brittle it gets. But solid prints are flawless when you get the right cure times.
Hmm.
And it really likes heat. It really likes to be hot. So
Interesting.
I warmed up my resin with a little heat gun, and I put a box over my printer. In fact, resin usually takes well to heat, but you got to be careful not to overheat your machine. And if you live in an area that's really cold, then it tends to fight you because it can't stay hot long enough. So, there are little tricks of the trade, but most miniature print guys who print their miniatures will use water washable because it stays solid and they can get a lot out of it, and it's less smelly and it's easier to clean. But the cost of water washable almost doesn't make it worth it, because you still want to have isopropyl on the side because you got to clean your vat out. You're still going to want some sort of glass cleaner. You're still going to want a sponge. You're still going to want like a cleaning setup because you still have to clean your machine. So yeah, it's almost like not worth it. Hey,
So,
Jinja, thank you so much. Maybe it
could
need to
you
be a little
just
bit more.
ask what my stream friend's name is? That is IR Sculpts. I just posted our multi-stream link, and then also a really janky shout out because apparently Streamlabs has forgotten how these commands work, but
Yeah.
the link is there.
Yeah. Also too, Emmy, what I would suggest doing is take a long box and make sure that you put it over your printer when you're printing. I do that all the time and I get great success. But Sierra Tech, any day of the week, it is the best consistent resin I've ever worked with, and I recommend that to anybody who's starting. Then I tell them, go play with Elgu, go play with Anycubic, because they are great resins, but you do have to like test your resin out. You gotta run it through some sort of cure test, exposure test, see what works best. No two resins are the same, but Sierra Tech has been the most consistent in my opinion. So
I need to file my taxes and figure out what I can actually afford printer wise.
Yeah.
I've had my head set on the Saturn for so long that and there's no reason for it. Like there are
Saturn's
3
an
or
awesome
4
one.
printers out there that I have been considering, but my head just got stuck on the Saturn, and I'm like, that's the one I want.
Yeah.
And it's really just because when I have an idea for something, I usually get stuck on the first idea, and the first one I wanted was the Saturn, and then I heard about others that are similar, and I'm like, but the Saturn.
The Saturn is great though. I mean, I'm not gonna say for your
The problem is it's not available.
right. No, that's true. Well, you're in the States. Look at EPAX.
Yeah.
Look at EPAX.
Yeah, that was,
they are
I think
great
it's
machines.
10 I was looking at, because Genesis has that one, and I was looking at it.
Yeah, I have the EPAX X1,
Genesis is art.
which it's a great machine. So highly recommended. But yeah.
Yeah, he has the one that's the same build plate size as the Saturn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's EPAX, the Elgu, great machines. Anycubic is, even though they were one of the first more successful ones, I've used one just enough to say that I wouldn't really buy one of their machines.
Yeah,
So-
I had been looking at the
what's
Anycubic
up?
Mono, and
Okay.
I've heard enough things about it. Like, I haven't heard anything bad about EPAX or Elegoo so far. But Anycubic, I've heard a few bad things, and I'm like, well, that's already more bad things than the other two.
Right? It's already
But-
bad.
Yeah, Anycubic is having a sale right now, so I'm like, ooh, but maybe. And I'm like, no, don't get sucked into paying less money just because it's on sale. Like, if I don't like it, it's gonna end up costing more because I'm gonna get something else.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't settle. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, you want this machine to last a long time.
Yeah,
again,
That's also why I'm not getting the Mars, because I know myself and I know I'm gonna want something bigger.
yeah. Well, no, I recommend people to get bigger. Go bigger if it's
Mhm.
your first printer. Like, patience is, virtue, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I've always been I haven't stayed with the flow of technology, but I've definitely been just right on the cusp of, oh, this came out a few months later, I got it. I
Right.
should have waited a little longer because while I love my e-packs and I've had it for 2 years, never once bed leveled it, never once did anything. It came pre-leveled. It's been amazing. Then I
Mhm.
ended up getting a Elgu Mars through work. That was really great experience. Learned how to level a machine, learned how to properly take care of a machine, etc., etc. I wish I waited until now these bigger machines because I can't afford these machines right now.
Right.
You know. Um,
So putting, yep, still going. And Emmy says Anycubic support is supposed to be crap. I think that's it. Yeah.
yeah.
If your part's broken, it doesn't somebody get one if it takes ages for them to sort it out. Yep. So that's actually the things I was hearing was I saw an ad for their sale on Facebook. And so I was like, what's this? And I was looking through some of the comments because, like, you can see that people have been laugh reacting or anger reacting to the sale. So
Yep.
I'm like, what's going on here? And just the comments, people were like, hey, why do you have a sale going on when you can't even fulfill current orders?
Right.
And the Anycubic account is responding with, well, what's your order? And they're like, I ordered like 6 bottles of resin and I only got 1. And they're like, oh, well, we're out of resin. Okay, so you have your printers on sale. You're doing a clearance sale on the printers, but you don't have resin to go with them.
Yeah. Well, most printers won't sell you resin, but that's a little shitty. Like, yeah, if you.
Yeah, well, people
most.
had been saying that they were waiting months for their resin.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I've played with an Anycubic. I knew somebody who bought Anycubic when they were first really popular. Yeah, I would say wait. Like, Anycubic is fine, but it's not the best. And
Yeah,
if you're gonna spend hard-earned tax money on it,
yeah,
wait.
that's I know that I would be happy with either the e-packs or the Elegoo.
Yeah.
My brain is stuck on Elegoo. I don't know. Well, I know why. I know how my brain operates, but there's no specific reason for it other than the Saturn was the first one I saw that I wanted. Actually, technically, the Mars was the first one I saw that I wanted, and then I found out the Saturn's a little bigger.
Yeah.
But,
Did you guys know the Oh, hold on a second. Ryan likes Anycubic. Maybe pick his brain a little bit more.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that the e-packs has an upgradable panel? I did know that. Yeah, I've actually upgraded mine. It works out great. When my LED light blew out, I used it that much. I put over 500 hours on it. That's the other thing too to remember is that these LED panels, they do go out. They do after so many uses. So I had holes and I had to replace it, so I upgraded.
Emmy says, I was on the fence between Anycubic and Elegoo. A friend of mine ordered the Photon Mono X when they took pre-orders. It was 3 months late after release for delivery, and they included the wrong resin.
Ouch. That sucks.
Ginger says, the Formlabs Form 3 details are amazing. Yes, they are. I can definitely not afford one of those printers because they're several grand, but
yeah.
So I have a couple prints here that were printed on a Form 3.
Oh,
They're
Form
very hard
3.
to see because they are clear, but this one, let me make my camera bigger. So we got Indiana Jones here. He has been in the sun. He's kind of gotten a little weird and cloudy in some areas, but we'll ignore that.
Just ignore.
But yeah, you can see, like, I sculpted the teeth on the idol, and they're like 1/4 of a millimeter, if that. And you can see the individual teeth.
That's cool.
And then I also have, so I was making miniatures for people, and somebody commissioned me to make a rogue for him, and sent it off to the printer, and they accidentally sent the printer to the wrong scale. So he was supposed to be about 1 inch tall, he came out about a centimeter tall. And there's no way in hell my camera's ever gonna pick that up, but you can see his facial expression.
That's really cool. Yeah, the form printers are awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, how do you go about creating your noses, mouth, and lips? Actually, I did a face study. We did a face study last week, Chris. But what I can basically refer to is, and I'm going to be breaking down those videos that we did last week. I actually downloaded all of them, and I'm going to be doing kind of like a time lapse so people can go through and see how I created stuff. But essentially, I do a block out where I create the head shape, then the jaw shape, then the nose shape. In fact, I can demonstrate that real quick because now I'm just noodling this base mesh. I'm pretty happy with it. So, I mean, it's a base mesh. At this point, you just start sculpting and start making things look like whatever it is you want it to look like. So let me go over real quick face anatomy.
But really quick, Emmy says transparent will go cloudy from sun exposure if it's not sealed. You can probably sand it a bit and put some glossy spray on it and it'll come right back. Yeah, I actually had, I made a Captain Marvel also went cloudy, but I ended up spraying her with some clear coat. Didn't even sand her, I just clear coated her, and she's almost like glass clear now. It's crazy.
Oh, crazy.
I don't have her over here, but check Daniel Bell IG. The details on fingerprints are crazy. Yeah. The Form 3 is my someday dream printer, or whatever Formlabs comes out that's better in the future. By the time I can afford one, there's going to be something better. But,
Forms 5.
Yeah. No, the Form 3, Living Vertex and I went to GDC one year, and Formlabs was there, and they were unveiling the Form 3, and they were printing, I think it was the Eiffel Tower, but it was like an inch tall, and you could see all of the detail.
Oh, wow.
But ever since I saw that, I was like, I need a resin printer.
Yep. Okay, so going back to how do I approach the nose and eyes? So I approach it all in the block out, and I'll show you a really quick down and dirty way that I do it. But I will be uploading in a time-lapse format at least how I did it, so that way you guys can refer to it. And I'm going to try to keep it in chunks, so basically block out chunk, merging chunk, detailing chunk, and I'll try to do that so it's digestible, so you're not like staring at a 10-minute video speed sculpt type thing. I'll see if I can come up with something creative. But to answer your question on focusing how to get the proper forms, I do a block out method where I will basically take a sphere, I'll take clip curve, and I'll kind of just clip the sides using symmetry just to give that shape, because again, heads are not round, they are more like oblong, egg shape. But then what I'll do is I'll do a block out section. So I'll take the head and I'll kind of crunch this down a little bit too. So this will be the top of the skull. I'll then actually hold control and duplicate. And then I'll end up squishing this so you get kind of this shape. And you can already start to see where I'm going with this. I'll change Control W to do polygroups. I'll grab this jaw area, and I'll actually just start kind of flattening it out here at the bottom, kind of making a point. Depends on what kind of style you're going for, of course. For me, we'll keep it kind of traditional, like we'll keep it kind of more stylized. But really, the thing to remember here is I'll actually bring this up a little bit. This is your eye line. This is you're already setting up your eyes. And then I'll actually turn around and kind of flatten this up. So I'll take clip curve, and I'll actually kind of flatten that spot when it's unmasked, which gives you the face plane change. And then I'll go 3/4, and I'll also clip that. This will give you your plane changes and make that kind of roundish shape already happening. And then the thing I'll do here is I'll actually smooth this out. So I have my eye placement. I'll go ahead and take the pinch brush, and I'll kind of pinch where the jaw should be. And kind of just move and kind of square this off almost. Clip curve again to kind of get that nice jaw line that's happening. Jaws are not straight, they're actually angled a little bit. You get something like this. So now you have this basic head shape. I'll then duplicate that at this point, because then what I'll do is I'll merge it together. You could do it via Dynamesh if you want. So you get something like this. You can smooth it all down. And then to get the eyes, now that I have this line, I'm actually going to use Clip Curve. I'm going to come in to about, say about right there. Double tap Alt, which will give me a sharp line. And I'll actually cut out this section and smooth that down. Because eyes are recessed in the back of the head. And foreheads go past the eyes. So then I'll just quickly do something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll take the trim dynamic and I'll quickly just kind of flatten this area out. I'm almost like rounding this out, getting this cheek curve that you see happening right here. And then to place the nose, I'll actually bring in a sphere or something right in the middle. And I'll take the gizmo and I'll actually kind of flatten this, squeeze this in a little bit. Something like this. I'll elongate it. I'll take my move brush with symmetry turned on, of course. And I'll start bringing in that nose shape. Of course, this is, like I said, really down and dirty. Dynamesh it. If you want to merge it together, then you can actually start getting that nice change, that nice plane change. Then from here, I'll start checking proportions. I'll actually start putting the ear, which is always in the middle of the skull. Now you have a pocket for your eyes. You can start bringing in your eyes. You have this lower half. Usually your mouth will be somewhere about there. But that will set you up to get a good block out. So hopefully that's helpful. But I'll be putting up a bunch of stuff on my YouTube in the coming weeks so that you guys can have something to follow too. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
I am going through and messing with polygroups on the face I'm gonna try and fix this this nonsense. She has like a weird U going under her nose instead of having nice loops around her eyes.
Yep. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up playing with this base mesh, clean it up, make it look really, really nice. Just because we ran out of time at this point. I think we have the battle ready, and then I got to do the thing I do, which is look for work. All right, let's start this battle. No problem, Cosmic. Yeah, tall guy complains, I just went into the kitchen for a drink. This house is like 200 years old and the ceilings are 7 feet tall. And I just got whacked in the head by a fan.
Oh no.
Oh, cool on the nose. What about the lips? Yeah, I'll showcase a lot of that, Chris. Because we covered that in the face, but with the lips, the thing to remember, you definitely want to definitely understand how the muscles wrap around, and then you kind of want to replicate that as best as you can. But I'm considering starting a anatomy course. So if this is something you guys are interested in, I could go more detail and spend more time in that. Let me know, and I'll be announcing when all that happens. But you definitely want to just kind of look at your anatomy, which I'll show you right now. I have this nice chart that I like to follow, and I think everybody can benefit from it. So let me zoom in real quick. And I'll actually share the link. So go here, copy, paste. But here on this anatomy, what you could do is you can basically kind of just really see that the mouth there's a muscle that wraps around, and then there are muscles that attach that are designed to pull up and pull down. And then there's this one muscle right here that a lot of people miss when they're sculpting for the first time in anatomy because it's not obvious. But this actually gives you a little bit of bump and creates on the inside of your mouth a little split that then allows your mouth to kind of close in on itself, and that muscle squeezes. And so this muscle in particular has a little notch. So pulling these references and really just kind of diving deep on how each individual muscle connects, and think of the mouth as basically a circle that's basically a mouth bag. It basically is a circle that leads into an inflated pocket, and that'll give you good guides too. My screen is black. Whoops, sorry. There we go. Let's go back. Let's do that again. Okay, so taking a look at how the mouth is. My bad. Thank you guys so much. I forgot to click it over. So looking at how the muscles connect, looking at how it all is designed, see how these muscles are designed to pull. This one right here is where a lot of people, like I was saying, when they first start doing mouths, forget that this muscle exists. This one is one that helps kind of pull back and also stretch, but this kind of folds over itself. So really look at this reference and really give it a shot and check it out. Yeah, sorry. That part was my bad. But yeah.
Oh, he said that your screen's back on
Yeah.
my screen too.
So lots of reference, Chris, but yeah, I use this all the time. It's a great resource. But then just try to replicate what you see. Like I said, think of the mouth as a circle muscle that then has muscles attached that pull up and pull down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's part of why I am trying to clean up my edge loops by re-poly grouping things.
Yeah. So for example, I'll give you a quick example on this base mesh right here. So if I wanted to focus in on the mouth, first off, proportions and mouth placements, you can see here how the mouth is kind of like stair stepped. Yeah, let's come over here for a second. So if I come here, the mouth is basically a stair step. Upper lip usually is over the lower lip. But then if I wanted to actually open this part up, what you want to do is see how the mouth is usually about a little higher than halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin. So what you want to remember when you're doing the face is that right here at this part, you could just use the damn standard, come in real quick. When you cut the section for your mouth and you see that the lips are again stair-stepped and one is over the other, usually the upper lip starts at that corner, comes up, and then comes down kind of like a little bow right here. The lower lip actually starts slightly inside. And then this part right here, this part comes down. And then if you take some clay buildup, you actually fluff this part up and smooth that out. This is that one muscle that if we go back to here, this is that one muscle right here that I'm talking about that actually helps control the mouth movement. And it's a slight little puff up. It also helps change mouth direction. So you can see here, this is what would cause the mouth to open and the mouth to close. So this one muscle is here, and then the other muscles actually come up this way. Actually come up at an angle, and then you have some that come down this way, and like that. So that's how the muscles would move. Then the main mouth muscle is actually circular, which is why you'll see when people retopologize faces that they're actually creating a circle edge loop. The edge flows circular around the mouth, and then it eventually opens up wider and over the nose. Yep. And then the other thing to remember too when creating mouths and chins, and what I'm going to do is actually really hone in on this last part. This part's important, that I think is a lot easier shown than explained. Don't crash ZBrush. Okay. So if we go right here, what we're going to do is really look at the forehead and look at the shape of the forehead, right? So the shape of the forehead is like this, okay? This is how the jaw is too, except the jaw is only half that shape. And the mouth is only half the shape of the forehead. So when you're taking a look at how wide the forehead is, the mouth is basically half that scale. So push that in a little bit more into the face, which helps then create the cheek muscles and fat. So you kind of push this in, and it gives you this look right here. And that also allows you to come on up for that overlapping fat that occurs on most people's faces. But also too, it also helps on the side when you carve in a little bit, creating that whole mouth shape as a whole, how that will get pushed in. And then lastly, as I go on a rant for a second, mouths are about, for proper width, wherever the eyes are, from one pupil to another is about the width of your mouth. No more than that. Unless you're really going for exaggeration. But usually
Steven
the mouth...
Tyler.
Yeah, or Steven Tyler. So the mouth shouldn't be any longer than that, and that's a good proportion check. So if you're just shy of halfway, you're fine. Just don't take it beyond, but also don't have a mouth go no more than the nose, because then that will look really small and tiny and freakishly awful. So again, unless it's a stylistic choice. So hopefully that helps you with the mouth too. There's a lot there, constructing any part of the anatomy. There's a lot of information to definitely digest, which is why these studies are so important, because I definitely don't consider myself a master of anatomy, but I just try to get a little bit better each day. And that's it. And then just practice, and then try it, and then practice, and then reference, and then practice, and then it's very repetitive from there. So hopefully some of that made sense. Do you have any tips, Kimura?
I think you covered everything I was actually just thinking as I'm like lining up my edge loops and I have my luchador mask thing going on here.
Right.
It's trying to get those edge loops on a face is super important, especially if you're going to be doing any sort of animation. Because the way the edge loops move for deformation is, it affects whether it looks natural or not.
Right.
I highly recommend, if you're doing any sort of retopology or even just trying to set up those edge loops in the first place, just look up an image of facial topology.
Actually,
Google like face edge loops, and there are usually some really good images out there. I have one up right now, actually, on my other screen.
I'm actually looking it up right now, so people can see too on my side. So one of my favorite ones is actually this female one.
This is what I'm using right now. It's really basic, but it's kind of all you need to get started, at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one's really similar. The one you just pulled up, really similar to what I'm looking at. It's just that she has a few more loops going on, which is kind of where I'm headed with mine. The reference I'm using is just a lot more basic.
Nice. But yeah, it really is dependent on how far you really want to go. So. And also too, just keep in mind that when you're looking at face anatomy and face loops, the color coordination that's showing on my screen, that's just so you can see it. That's so you can see the different groups, but you won't. The polygroup itself doesn't matter. What matters is how it flows. So that's what you want to pay attention to the most. Yep, and recognizing too where the poles are on the face. That's super important. So, well, hopefully that helped you guys, even just a little bit.
It's been helping me.
Yeah. Okay, so let me close down these right here. So Does anybody else have any other questions before we call it today? Thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and chilling. So my usual schedule is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday here on my streams. And then every Sunday at 5 p.m. I stream for Pixelogic now. So come stop by, say hi, where I show off ZBrush and also just sculpt and hang out with a bunch of people. So that happens. And Kamara has a stream schedule as well.
Yeah. So I'm on every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have to share my Discord link. Living Vertex, who's another 3D artist, and I just made up our Discord server live. So if you want to come hang out there, that's the link right there.
Hell yeah, do it. I'm a part of that too. It's awesome. Yeah. I'm excited. Awesome, good stuff, Iron. No, thank you so much, babe. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's always good for a refresher, absolutely. So yeah, maybe we'll do more anatomy studies and stuff like that as well. And like I said, guys, I'm going to be coming up with a intro to ZBrush or intro to sculpting in general course. I'll kind of like pick people's brains for a little bit on what would be more popular. If I do the ZBrush intro, it will include ZBrush Core Mini as well as ZBrush Core. So any version. So you can come in to the course. It'll be like a classroom style, just maybe on Zoom. But it will be just, you just bring ZBrush Core Mini is all you really need. And then, get you started. And then, going from there. I think it'll be pretty cool. It'll be more of like a how to get started. Because ZBrush can be kind of confusing. But I feel like there's not a lot out there.
Like,
yeah.
Why am I drawing squares? What's happening?
Yep. And then too, I think my next couple of projects is going to be more anime related. So I'm going to be doing more anime faces. So if people are interested in learning that as well, come join me. But then if somebody wants a more deep dive, I'll probably set up some one-on-ones. I think that'd be pretty cool too. So whatever's beneficial for everybody. Sharing them.
I'm currently working on retopologizing my beetle mech, which is what I'm going to be doing later today. If anyone wants to come join me, hang out while I do that. I'll be back on in a couple hours.
Nice.
I say 6 o'clock on these days that Ian and I have been streaming together. I usually end up starting a little late. So maybe like 6:30 my time. But I'll try to be here by 6.
Yeah.
Gotta give myself a little break.
Stand up, walk around, get that fitness going.
Yeah.
So
Get some food.
Yep.
Play some Beat Saber.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for me for the day. So thank you guys for stopping by. Everybody on Kamara's side, thank you so much for listening to the ominous voice. That is me. But I really enjoy.
Stream one more time too.
Yep. And then I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be putting stuff up on my YouTube, kind of more of a speed sculpt slash, like how to, just so you guys can kind of come back and refresh yourself on how we did these. I'm going to fix this up, and then I probably will release this base mesh for anybody who would like to have it. So if people are looking for something to just get started with, space mesh will be pretty good. Maybe I'll set up for UVs too. Who knows?
Base mesh.
Hey, Turner! Oh, well, sorry, buddy. We're just leaving too. Anyway, guys, that is it. Take it easy, have fun, and also too, if you guys are new, don't forget to check out my socials, which is right here. Join my Discord, which is just a fun place for artists to be, hang out, ask questions, rant. Just keep it friendly. That's all I ask. And yeah. But all right, guys.
Discord hang out right now.
Yeah.
It's new. We just opened it yesterday.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna clean them up. I'm not 100% happy with this mesh, but we'll clean it up. We'll make it awesome. Yeah. So
I'm gonna keep playing with mine a bit. Not today, but I will.
All right. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Yeah. I will.